Another picture postcard day in San Diego. In the shadow of the Tony Gwynn statue is Petco Park, where tonight two winless teams so far in this round of the tournament get together. Yeah, the atmosphere was congenial before the game, but each team is aware of the serious nature of what an 0-2 start in San Diego would do. Both teams looking for their first winning game this round. Welcome to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network presented by Geico. Tonight, the San Diego pool continues with the Stars of Venezuela against the defending WBC champs, the Dominican Republic. The standings as each team is on the books, so to speak, with one game under their belt. Today it's the winless teams that converge. It's the Dominican Republic and Venezuela, the U.S. and Puerto Rico tomorrow. And as we know, the top two teams advance to the semifinals next week in Los Angeles. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. So it is with some renewed urgency, John, that these two teams tonight look for their first win and try to avoid what could be a treacherous 0-2 start.
Yeah, both teams lost tight games. Both teams' offense had a chance to break it open and didn't. That's why they both lost. I think for the offensive teams, seize the moment, create pressure on the bases, but then drive them in. Whoever gets locked in quicker at the offensive side is going to create a lot of stress. You don't want to lose. You're not eliminated, but you don't want to put yourself at that point to rely on the tiebreaker.
Two veteran pitchers on the mound starting the affair tonight, and two veterans of World Baseball Classic play as well. Edinson Volquez pitched into the fourth inning against Team USA. Gave up 3 runs, only one of them earned on Saturday. And Ulyss Chacín for Venezuela looking for a little revenge.
Yeah, definitely would like to have that revenge and also make an audition for being a permanent spot in the major leagues. For Volquez, I think it's going to be early. Watch him early, how he comes out in the first inning to determine what kind of success he may have and pitch his team into the 4th or 5th inning. That's the key, because Team Venezuela may not have as many weapons in the pitching rotation, but they're going to need as many pitches they can get out of the starter.
Yeah, they'd like a long one out of Chacín, who lost to the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic 4 years ago. Let's talk about one of the interesting matchups here. Two of the best second basemen in baseball representing Venezuela and the Dominican. Jose Altuve starting tonight at third base, but we know what he's capable of as an offensive player, having twice led the American League in hits, an all-star, a stolen base champ, but he's not off to a terrific start in this event.
No, and you know, the goal is not to press. It is early, and the guys are trying to get their reps. You see the numbers in 2017, and yes, he's going over to play third base to try to give his teammate a little more comfortable feeling at second. If he gets on, that offense can be stacked and create problems for the opposing pitcher.
We'll bat a little deeper in the lineup tonight for Omar Vizquel. Nobody's worried about the slow start that Robinson Cano is off to in the World Baseball Classic. Yes, he's the defending MVP from this event back in 2013, but the 7-time All-Star not posting very Cano-like numbers yet in this event.
He's not. He's the most patient hitter, most relaxed player in this field, and he's drawn a lot of walks. So you got to chalk that up to the guys that are pitching against him, giving him the ultimate respect. His timing may not be perfect, but he's such a threat. Look for him to get a couple big hits for the Dominican Republic team, who needs offense going from the very beginning.
How does Cano himself feel about his start? He's standing by with our JP Morosi.
Thank you, Matt, here with Robinson Cano. And Robbie, yesterday a pitcher's only practice, but you were here. Why?
Well, I mean, for me, it's just been training, so I got to get ready for the season. And no matter what I do here, I got to still get ready for the season.
Your at-bats in this Classic so far, how have you felt?
Well, I feel great. I mean, I had 8 bases ball, which is very rare on me. So, you know, for me, it's more even, you know, if you're not swinging good, you know, get your hits, get on base for the guys. And that's all that matters. Get on base and make your plays.
Last one for you, Robbie. It's been 8 years since your team lost a game in this tournament. What's the mood for your team now here today?
Well, the mood, just go out there and, you know, start early in the first inning. If we would have started last game, it would be a different game. But we're ready, and then just can't wait.
Gracias, Robbie.
You welcome.
Matty, back to you.
All set for baseball. Team USA and Puerto Rico tomorrow, but tonight it's the Stars of Venezuela versus the defending champs from the Dominican Republic. We're all set with lineups and the opening pitch. Plenty of star power in San Diego tonight. Baseball is coming up next. Biggest bats in baseball representing their countries at Petco Park tonight, trying to solve what's been kind of a pitching and defense start to this tournament. Let's check Omar Vizquel's Venezuela lineup tonight, and it's much different than what we saw yesterday. In fact, the only two Venezuela hitters occupying the same spot that they did last night are the 3 and 4 batters, Cabrera and Martinez. Note on your screen, Jose Altuve has not hit lower than 4th since 2012. He's batting number 6 and playing third base tonight. Odubel Herrera makes his first appearance in San Diego. The outstanding young Philly in left field, batting number 7. On the mound for Team Dominican Republic, making his second start of the World Baseball Classic this year, the 33-year-old veteran right-hander Edinson Volquez.
For Volquez, he'd love to obviously put a 0 on and let his offense go to work. Both these teams have been low on, I would call, celebratory type actions. They did not score many runs in their first contests, and I look for somebody tonight to erupt. I don't know which side, but I look for somebody to take advantage. Even though this park doesn't yield a lot of home runs, someone's got to get hot.
Ender Inciarte leading things off. The outstanding Atlanta Brave takes a strike. It's 0-1. Inciarte was hitless yesterday. Did drive in a run with a sacrifice fly. Batting leadoff tonight, as we mentioned, Jose Altuve bumped down to the number 6 spot. And it's not that Altuve is that cold, but the absence of Martin Prado tonight, who was lost due to injury yesterday, has really sent the lineup into a very different look tonight.
Yeah, I would agree. They'd look for more run production out of Altuve in this lineup where he's batting.
Inciarte with a foul ball, and it's a ball and 2 strikes on the Venezuela center fielder. But one of these two teams can drop to 0-2 at the conclusion of the night, and that's going to really put them behind the 8 ball with only 1 game left in the bracket. Nobody wants to defer to the tiebreaker. Nobody wants to think about a mathematical formula or a play-in game to try to move on to Los Angeles next week. A ball and 2 strikes, the count to Ender Inciarte. 64 degrees at the time of the first pitch tonight. It was a gorgeous day in San Diego, but as we've seen, the marine layer, or as Tim Flannery likes to say, the coastal eddy. Eddie buys a ticket every night here, and it changes the feel. The next 1-2 to Inciarte.
Yeah, the loser of this game, Matt, has to hope somebody goes 3-0. It's really their only chance to get into a 3-way 1-2 record, and therefore then one would be eliminated based on the tiebreaker. So I look at Venezuela, and certainly they're in a much neater, they have to win. They're more in need of a win. The DR plays, of course, the U.S. So depending on what the U.S. does tomorrow sets the table for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and Puerto Rico is what the U.S. has to deal with tomorrow. Seth Lugo and Marcus Stroman tomorrow night. Omar Vizquel taking a break from his day job as a first base coach of the Detroit Tigers after his 24-year playing career, and told us prior to last night's game this is a dry run for him, kicking the tires to be a full-time manager. He would like very much to get an opportunity to do that in the big leagues. Castillo takes a foul tip there. Still a ball and 2 strikes. The 8th pitch of this opening at bat coming, as Inciarte is giving Volquez a pretty good battle to start the night. Rougned Odor waiting on deck.
Castillo catching every inning.
Yeah, Dominican Republic manager Tony Pena told us there's no plans to have Castillo sit this tournament. 2-2. Catching depth is an issue for Venezuela as well. They are without World Series hero Salvador Perez after he was injured in Mexico last week. Over 1,700 games behind the plate, the most among all Dominican-born big league catchers. And it's a full count now. John, you talked about the first inning issues that Edinson Volquez has had in the past. It's something that his pitching coach Bill Castro has been aware of for years. In fact, it's no secret in Major League Baseball. They've done a lot of things with him. Starting his bullpen earlier, starting his bullpen later. 3-2. And a swing and a miss. This one hung on to by Castillo, and a long at bat yields the strikeout.
Well, that's part of the breakdown for Volquez, and I think he's got to get through the first inning, as you mentioned, because that just sets the table for him and the DR. Don't rush. His mechanics, sometimes when he gets in trouble, he rushes. That front leg doesn't want to go up as much as it wants to go towards home. And then pound the strikes with your sinker. That sinker is so good. And if you pound the strikes, you don't have to throw strikes with your off-speed pitch. We just saw a changeup right there, 3-2, that got the K. So Volquez has the stuff. It's the mannerism of which sometimes he rushes with his mechanics, which gets him underneath the ball, and therefore he walks. A few too many guys.
Here's Rougned Odor now, 1 for 3 with a big home run yesterday, and starting tonight at a much more familiar second base position. 2 costly errors from Odor yesterday, playing third. And most unusually, Jose Altuve, noting that after the game, approached Omar Vizquel and said, "Hey, I played third as a kid. Put me over there and move Odor back to second where he's a little bit more comfortable."
Be interesting to see when he's first noticed by somebody at third base back in spring training, because I don't think they be in the Astros. May know he's playing third.
On the ground for Cano, and 2 quick outs start the night. Well, it's further curious too, John, when you consider that there are 2 players on the Venezuela bench tonight who have had considerable time at third base. Yangervis Solarte, the San Diego Padres, played third base a lot, and Hernan Perez. They need Altuve's bat in the game. It's pretty clear. Speaking of big bats, this one has been quiet so far. A 4 for 18 start in the World Baseball Classic for the 11-time All-Star Miguel Cabrera.
And as I mentioned yesterday, this guy has an incredible process to get ready for the season. I really believe he could roll into the season without taking BP once and still do what he does. But in spring training and in a format like this, he wants the ball to get in deep, which means he wants the ball to travel. He doesn't want to jump. He wants to see all quadrants of the pitches, as many as he can. And he's going to constantly make adjustments, as do hitters do, once they see enough live pitches. I call it, this guy's sitting in a rocking chair when he hits. That's how comfortable, that's how much he's not out of balance. Yes, you can get him out every once in a while, but not the same way twice. I guarantee that.
1-1 to him. A drive to the opposite field down near the porch and into the corner, just foul. Well, I think Dominicans caught a break there. It looked like that was going to sneak over the wall. That porch dimension out there can give you a cheapie every once in a while. Just sliced wide.
So you see Volquez trying to pound him in, and then of course Miguel Cabrera going the other way. I've seen him do this where he's gone foul pole to foul pole, meaning he's hit a ball down the right field line foul, and then he'll come right back and yank one down the left field line. He's got that kind of plate coverage.
Behind the ball and 2 strikes. 8 of the 15 pitches Volquez has thrown this inning have been fouled off. Cabrera hitless yesterday against the Americans. Here's the 1-2 pitch to him. Got him to commit. Tough man to punch out. A pair of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 first for Edson Volquez. 25 combined All-Star appearances in the Dominican lineup tonight, starting with Jose Reyes, who's gone to the All-Star game 4 times. The only member of Team Dominican Republic to play in this event, all 4 runnings. Machado and Cano following the first. Bautista, Cruz, and Santana. Starling Marte, Gregory Polanco, and as John mentioned, Wellington Castillo at catcher, as he has been all event long. It is 29-year-old veteran and San Diego Padre Ulis Chacín pitching in his new home park. And his first offering to Jose Reyes is in for a strike.
Chacín has 4-seam fastball, sinker, changeup, slider, curveball, and cutter. He's got it all.
Saw the numbers on his first WBC outing this year. Gave up 5 runs in 3 2/3 earlier in the tournament. Chacín last year in split duty between Atlanta and the Angels finished with a 6-8 record. He was much better after the All-Star break and much better still the final 2 months of the season. Did not get off to a very good start in Atlanta and was in fact released after 5 starts. Finished the season up the road from here in Anaheim and compiled the line that you see there on your screen. Reyes with a chopper to shortstop. Escobar's got him. 1 away.
Well, for Chacín audition, he wants to get a permanent spot in the MLB team, and certainly this will go a long way to trying to convince the Padres. And then that slider is going to be huge. He's got to be able to get that off the plate, get some swings without some firm contact and no crooked numbers. That means if you're going to give up runs, solo runs against this very high-powered Dominican team. I was told by the pitching coach he was convincing him that he could come here rather than work in spring training because he really wanted to position himself to make that roster, because nothing's a given, right? And he thinks that this audition and this ability here will go a long ways for him.
Here's Manny Machado now with 1 away as Venezuela loads up the left side of the infield for him. And Chacín pours in a strike. It's 1-1. Machado 1 for 4 with a double and 3 strikeouts in his opening matchup in this round. U.S. pitching able to, or Puerto Rico pitching rather, able to handle Machado 2 nights ago. By the way, coming up in this bracket, and the big one's coming Saturday night. Apparently tickets are at a premium Saturday. It's a doubleheader here Saturday. Venezuela and Puerto Rico in the opener at 12:30. And then it's the U.S. and the Dominican Republic at 7 p.m. local time. And tickets are being snapped up quickly for that one if you have any plans to join us. It's a flare out to right field. Carlos Gonzalez has it, and there are 2 away. John, JP, and I will be with you on television for the remainder of this tour here in San Diego, and then the championship round in LA. Tomorrow night, the U.S. and Puerto Rico, 2 undefeated teams in San Diego. And then the doubleheader on Saturday, and barring the need for a tiebreaker game, it's off to Los Angeles from there to start the semifinals Monday night. Two relatively routine outs behind Chacín, and now Robinson Cano. Just 2 for 13 in the tournament so far, and 2 for 12 in his career against Chacín, but he bounces that one back up the box, and Cano is the game's first base runner tonight.
Cano usually pretty patient early, but decided, you know what, I'm gonna get out of this funk and attack the first fastball I see, take it up the middle. They had a little shift on him.
So now the 6-time All-Star Jose Bautista. Jose Bautista's been around a long time, as we know. 13-year career. Chacín is an 8-year veteran, yet they have never met in a major league ballgame before. 1-1. Of course, one of the big side stories in this matchup, Venezuela and the Dominican, involves Jose Bautista. guy playing second base for Venezuela tonight. Who could forget the confrontation between those two around the second base bag early in the 2016 season.
The Rangers and the Blue Jays have had some epic games, of course, the last couple of years. The playoffs, just the way that it unfolded. Of course, this guy right here having a huge part of that home run backflip, game winner.
You know, the bat flip in the playoff game in 2015, that was raw emotion. That was one of the most memorable, and in my book, one of the most brilliant nights that our game has seen in a long time. Touched off some bad feelings for the Rangers. We'll continue talking about that all night tonight. Nothing comes of the 2-out single. An inning in the books in San Diego tonight. Venezuela and the Dominican Republic scoreless. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Go get rewarded now at bestwestern.com. And by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Hotel Del Coronado, not far from where we are at Petco Park downtown. Welcome back as Victor Martinez leads things off in the visitors' second. Martinez, Gonzalez, and Altuve. 12 combined all-star appearances that Edinson Volquez deals with here early on tonight. Martinez was hitless yesterday against Team USA, 0 for 4. 1-1.
There's the numbers against Volquez.
But he has not had a good time of it against the guy he faces tonight.
A lot of off speed, I would imagine, to get him out.
Last year for Victor Martinez, bouncing back from kind of a subpar 2015 by his own standards, added almost 200 points to his OPS, from 667 to 826 last year. Batting average was up, home runs were up. Better numbers across the board, and Martinez has done that a couple times. He's come back from some really significant injuries in his career. Slices a fly ball near foul territory. Machado is there. And that's 4 in a row retired by Volquez to start the night.
Defensively for the Dominicans, Machado, that's all you need to know, by the way. But Polanco, Marte, and Bautista now in right field. Reyes at short, Cano, Santana, of course, at first, and Castillo. Who else will be behind the plate? But if for some reason you haven't seen Machado and this is your first time tuning in, it's one of the best you're ever going to see for a youngster to come up and play this position. His hands, his range, and his arm are fantastic.
24 years old, already a 2-time Gold Glover. And by the way, he's the only guy on the entire left side of the infield against Carlos Gonzalez, who digs in with 1 gone. Gonzalez was 1 for 3 last night. See the right side overload that the Dominican Republic employs. Whereas Victor Martinez has never enjoyed Edinson Volquez, Carlos Gonzalez has. 10 for 19 lifetime against him, including 3 doubles and 2 triples.
That's significant. Not a small sample size.
That gets your attention, huh? Yep. 10 for 19.
Yep.
Gonzalez showed bunt. 3 balls and a strike to him now. You know, the base on balls for Edinson Volquez, and we talked about this on Saturday, John, in Miami. previously had been a big issue for him. It's still there, but he's gone a long way to correct his one-time base-on-ball crisis. He loses Cargo to a 4-pitch walk. First 9 years of Edinson Volquez's career, he walked 3 or more batters in a start 63% of the time. Since then, he's walked 3 or more batters in a start in just over 40% of his appearances.
Yeah, and part of that has to do with the way he takes the ball out of the glove and whether his body stays back for his arm to catch up. And what I mean by that is some guys have a natural arm swing that keeps going with the body as it turns and goes to home plate. He's got just a little bit of a hitch, and so there's a little flop in his arm, and as he delivers, the tendency to get underneath it is greater. You'll see it out of the stretch a little bit, but it's really apparent in the windup.
So here's Jose Altuve now with 1 out and 1 on, and as we mentioned when we set the starting lineup, Altuve batting lower than he has in the lineup since 2012. In the number 6 spot tonight is the 2-time batting champ. But something that we've heard echoed really with every team that we've been around in this event is that players have, and I hate this cliche because it sounds like, you know, Bob Geldof talking about the "We Are the World" recording 25 years ago. Players have checked their egos at the door. And Altuve's fine batting number 6. He's also okay playing third base tonight. In fact, he volunteered for it.
You know, weird things pop in my head every once in a while. You got to know me long enough now. Guys usually, you know, they hang together. I can just see Correa and Altuve going to the store to shop and going to different departments to get their clothes because it's opposite ends, right? You got a shortstop that's huge, prototypical A-Rod type body. And then you got this guy who now everybody who's under 6 feet looks up to because the guy dominates the game of baseball like we haven't seen at his size.
He is a champion of the diminutive. It's okay, tranquilo, take it easy. That's what Castillo's saying on a 1-1 count on its way home to Jose Altuve.
Watch his hand come out of the glove and see if his body stays back. Just a little bit of a hitch.
Gonzalez runs, had a nice jump, and Altuve fouls it away.
He has to put a little bit of stress on that shoulder. See, the hand drops and then goes straight up instead of swinging back. It drops, and now it goes up quickly, and the timing for that, your body has to help your shoulder and arm coordinate all that. So instead of coming out in a swinging motion, it goes down first, then up.
See if Gonzalez tries to run again on a ball and 2 strikes. Stays put. And a called strike 3 taken by Altuve.
This is a changeup inside corner. There's the delivery. There's the changeup grip. You can see it all the way through. I wonder if Tom Hallion's a good golfer based on that rotation. That's good rotation.
You know, not for nothing, but he probably has to do a series of thoracic spine exercises before he gets out there, because that is some real torque he puts on his body. Here's Odubel Herrera now. The fine young Philly re-up to a multi-year deal this offseason.
So I wonder if he got it from Naked Gun 33.5 or if they got it from him.
Now, they call it the Enrico Palazzo move in the umpire camp. I love Tom Hallion's punch-out call. I think it's the best in the business right now.
I'm going to find out his high total behind the plate. See if it sent him into rehab or not.
Odubel Herrera did not play in Venezuela's opening matchup here in San Diego. The loss last night. He is so wide open in the box, man. I mean, he's got a little. Remember Tony Bautista?
Yeah.
Toronto.
Oakland. That is about as extreme. Was Bautista.
There is no mistaking Odubel Herrera for anybody else in the big leagues, not only because of his stance, but because he's still doing that Manny Ramirez thing with the pants hooked onto the spikes. He's the scourge of stirrup manufacturers across the globe.
Can't see the 2-on-1s he's sporting under there, can you?
No. I mean, he could be barefoot under there as far as we know.
I'm not a fan of that, but to each their own.
Gonzalez another half a stride off the bag at first. He's tried to run once. Herrera with a ground ball to shortstop. Jose Reyes wins the race to the bag. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico, with Hall of Famer John Smoltz and JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, in the early stages of a scoreless tie. Man, the Gaslamp District is just absolutely buzzing here this week. There's a huge convention in town. That always seems to be the case in San Diego, and the World Baseball Classic in town as well. Here's Nelson Cruz leading things off in the home second. Cruz, Santana, and Marte against Yuli Chacin, who stranded a 2-out single in his opening inning tonight. I must correct a earlier statement, John, and that's what I get for trying to be clever. It was the great Quincy Jones who produced We Are the World. I always get that confused with Do They Know It's Christmas, which was Bob Geldof. So I know that folks at home are just hanging on the edge of their seat for the correct information to be disseminated there. It's my bad, America.
No, I just like the fact that you're checking our audience.
3 balls and a strike. Nelson Cruz 1 for 3 with a home run. And the Dominicans lost to Puerto Rico here 2 nights ago. Second home run of the tournament. He's one of the Dominican hitters really to never have any kind of success against Yuli Chacin. Just 1 for 11.
Good 3-1 slider right there. Usually, what you see 3-1, you're going to get 3-2. And he did.
Full count now. Full count remains, that is, to Nelson Cruz. Yeah, that's the collective number against Chacin. Just a 7 for 44 combined number for the Dominican lineup tonight. Yuli Chacin signed with the Rockies as just a 16-year-old back in 2006 and made his major league debut 3 years later. First 6 of his 8 seasons in the Grande Ligas as a Rocky. Here's his next payoff pitch to Nelson Cruz.
We talked about his ability to get that slider going in one of the breakdowns, and that was the 11th one. And we've only in the second inning. That one backed up and actually tied up. Cruz, there's the grip, there's the spin. The tighter those seams are together, make a small red dot, the harder it is to hit.
Swing and a miss. Took something off. First strikeout of the night for Yuli Chacin, much to the delight of his wife Alba. his son Dominic, who's crawling all over mom, and his daughter Nicole, who are here. And JP, could it be that Alba has mixed rooting allegiances in this event?
Well, Matt, Alba is from Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, right there on the border, not far from Tucson, Arizona. And Tucson is where she met Julisse. She was a student at the University of Arizona, and he was pitching in the Rockies farm system. And of course, that's where the Rockies used to have spring training. So last week when Alba went home to Mexico to watch her husband pitch in that tournament against her homeland, she said, yes, she got the chills when she heard the Mexican anthem, but she was rooting for Venezuela. She said, I married Venezuela, and we are Team Chacín wherever we go.
Got it, got it. As you can see clearly by the jersey of her choice tonight. One out, base is empty for Carlos Santana. Here's the 1-0 home, and Santana takes a strike. Santana with a flare, slicing, just foul. Looks like Alba is really making quite the style statement tonight as well, JP.
She is, Matt. Those are Swarovski crystals all over the Venezuela on her jersey. And I'm told, Matt, it is the envy of the remainder of the Venezuelan traveling party. So perhaps we'll see more of those jerseys with the Swarovski crystals there later in the week.
Marketing opportunity for somebody. You can replace the Swarovski crystals with the bedazzled kit and maybe sell the jersey a little bit more cost efficiently. 2-2 to Carlos Santana, who was hitless in the loss against Puerto Rico 2 nights ago. That was after a terrific Miami round in which he went 6 for 15. Full count, 3-2.
Great pitch right there, backdooring that slider. Just not getting the call though. This is freezes Santana, but good take as it ended up being.
Payoff pitch home, and he lost him on ball 4. The strength of Carlos Santana is his refined batter's eye. Led the league in walks back in 2014. 6+ seasons in the big leagues, and he's walked almost 640 times.
Just to finish my thought, when you're sitting at home trying to figure out how big leaguers hit a slider, well, it's not easy, because the tighter the dot, they do not pick that spin up. When the dot becomes a circle, the red seams becoming a circle, those are the balls that get absolutely hammered because you can see it better. A 4-seam fastball gives the illusion that it rises when it doesn't, and a 2-seam fastball has much more movement, and you have less of the rotation of the baseball on a 2-seamer than you would a 4-seamer. Trying to create backspin on a 4-seamer and trying to stay on top of a 2-seamer to watch it move out of the zone.
Starling Marte with the chance. Runner aboard with 1 gone. As Marte, who was idled 2 nights ago against Puerto Rico, lays off. It's a ball and no strikes. At just 3 for 7 lifetime against Ulises Chacín, Starling Marte is the Dominicans' most accomplished hitter against their opponent tonight. All of a sudden, the location becoming a bit of an issue for the right-hander. I should mention tonight, as we'll have a little visit to the mound, that while the pitch count, the limit in this round is 80, Omar Vizquel shared with us earlier that in the case of Chacín, the realistic limit is around the 60 pitch count. So how efficient he is, how much he can give them in terms of innings with those 60 pitches becomes important, because Venezuela's bullpen had to work pretty hard last night.
They did, and they're still on the short end of having a lot of experience in their pitching staff. There were other guys, again, fighting for ball club roster spots that chose to stay there to impress their organizations there. So they're a little bit limited with some of the guys they have, and I don't know what you could do to alter maybe some of the roster spots for the pitchers in this format, I would think you would need. I would think you'd need a little extra help in the pitching spot.
That ends a stretch of 5 straight misses by Chacín. It's 2 balls and a strike to the 2016 All-Star Starling Marte. Marte was one of the Dominicans' heroes Saturday in Miami in their win over the U.S. 3 for 4, had a solo home run against Andrew Miller that capped off that 4-run rally in the 8th. And the Dominican lineup is so loaded, he hasn't been able to get any playing time since. Two balls and 2 strikes. But Carlos really wanted to make sure he was safe. These guys are still talking to each other. Marte into the opposite corner. Slicing foul.
Well, defensively, for Team Venezuela, a couple changes. Herrera in left, Ciarte in center, and Gonzalez. But Altuve has gone to third. Hasn't been tested really yet. Escobar is short. Odor, Cabrera, and Chirinos behind the plate.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Marte. Shattered bat roller to third base. Altuve gets it to second in time for Odor to at least get 1 out on the play. Third baseman Jose Altuve. Just plug and play. Put him anywhere.
It wasn't tested till right then. This ball shatters the bat. Trying to pull his hands in. Trying to get the barrel to the ball. But not going to happen in that pitch.
No big deal. Yeah, right. It's like being back on the sandlots. I love it. I just think for an established star like Jose Altuve to volunteer to put himself at risk, not physically, but certainly, you know, this is an established, proud big leaguer who's putting himself in a position where things don't come as easily. And he's willing to do that for this event, for his country. Here's Gregory Polanco now.
You know, I think sometimes, just in this day and age where we have just this overkill of injuries, I think we worry too much about too much. I mean, we make a big deal about everything that goes on and what could happen if this. I mean, this is a guy that knows he can play third base and help his team win. It's not a big deal. It's not going to mess him up for the season. And I just think from pitchers to players to every day enjoying this great game of baseball, we are too protected in our mindset, and that is half the battle to try to play this game as long as it is. If I thought of half the things I did in my big league career and thought about the chances of getting hurt with everything that I did, I probably would have got hurt. I shagged like a crazy man out there. That's how I stayed in shape. That's how I had fun.
Yeah, I mean, those stories are as legendary as your postseason exploits in some circles. But I mean, you hit on the word there. It was fun, right? I mean, that's why you did it. And it's as a fan, certainly for me, and I know other fans would agree, we love to see that. We love to see a guy smiling and having a good time. Ball and no strikes. The count to Gregory Polanco, who had a couple of hits 2 nights ago against Puerto Rico. Also stole the base. He's had a really good tournament. Just 6 for 11 in just 3 starts. 1-1. Well, even though it's fun for him, JP, it has been a while since Jose Altuve's been out there at third base.
the 2011 Corpus Christi Hooks. That's the last time Altuve played third base, 7 games that year. And of course, later that season, made his debut, Matt. No player in baseball more hits since then.
Wrapped softly to second base for Rutnadador, and nothing comes of the 1-out walk in the home second. On to the 3rd inning at Petco Park tonight. The history between the Dominican Republic and Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic is rather one-sided. The DR is 3-0 all time against their opponent tonight. As we start the top half of the 3rd, Alcides Escobar, Robinson Chirinos, and Ender Inciarte for Omar Vizquel's Venezuela squad. Escobar 1 for 3 last night against Team USA. Mr. Reliable during the regular season, having twice in the last 3 years played all 162. And he is one of the very high-profile Kansas City Royals with 1 year left on his current KC deal.
All right, man, I'm going to ask you a question. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you think drives the enthusiasm to the level that the Dominican had in Miami? I gotta believe it's the crowd.
I think that's fair.
So my question would it be more crowd or more results, meaning getting hits, scoring runs? I just sense that obviously they haven't been on fire and they haven't been as boisterous, but I think the crowd really played a huge part from the very beginning of the first pitch in Miami to the conclusion of that series.
I think that's a fair statement. It was also, you know, the first leg of the tournament. And Escobar flares a base hit into shallow right. You know, and remember how they started too. They had that real convincing 9-2 win over Canada, where it never felt like Canada was in it, and they were just, I mean, it was a track meet. And if you're going to celebrate 1 run, they're really going to celebrate 9 of them, as they did that night. I think that despite the fact that the crowd here isn't as pro-Dominican as it was in Miami, I think that if they could just string together some hits, we'll see that kind of party atmosphere in the dugout that we did in Miami. Escobar aboard. First time tonight either side has put its leadoff hitter aboard, and Alcides Escobar can run. We'll see how aggressive Omar Vizquel gets here. Robinson Chirinos, the batter, he was 1 for 3 yesterday against the U.S. There he goes. Didn't waste any time.
I would think they would have to be aggressive and take chances. I don't know that they can rely on being able to pitch perfectly against this lineup and win a 2-0 or one-run game. I think they've got to feel that scoring runs is going to be huge, and scoring enough of them. But why not take some chances?
We've asked all the managers in this event if guys have green lights, if the stolen base is coming from the dugout, and it's kind of what you'd expect. The guys who have the ability to run have the green lights, and I would imagine Escobar's in that group. He goes again, a swing and a miss, throw down by Castillo is in time to get him. The tag adeptly applied by Jose Reyes.
Escobar didn't think he got tagged on this throw. We're going to find out, see if he was right or not. Maybe not from that angle. This will be a better angle. I don't know, close.
Still really tough to tell. A better look here, perhaps. Space?
I don't know.
Just can't tell. So if there were instant replay or challenges, which there isn't in this round, that one would likely not have been overturned. Inconclusive video evidence. 1 out, base is empty now, and the 1-2 to Chirinos is fouled away.
Been impressed with the catchers and their throwing already. See him look in, and then he knows he's got to get there.
Alcides Escobar is over 80% as a base stealer, so foiled on a rare occasion there by Robinson Chirinos, who, as we talked about a little bit yesterday, we didn't get into it, or 2 nights ago. I think Chirinos is a little underreported as a defender. That was something Tony Pena agreed with today when we talked about his catcher with him. It's not just about the throw to second. It's not just about pop time. A lot of it is, of course, how you handle a staff, how you call a game. But in terms of cutting down the running game, Tony Pena knows that Castillo's pop time is one of the quickest in baseball. According to Amazon Web Services, last year's averages, pop time to second base. That's the time the catcher catches the ball from that pop of the glove to when the ball gets to second base.
A lot of foul balls.
Yeah.
15 foul balls.
It's like 25% of what he's thrown. I don't want to show off or anything about that awesome math skills. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You don't have any problem with tipping. You got that now.
Oh no, I mean, I can figure it out. I'm just cheap. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chirinos refusing to go away. A single opened the inning. Escobar thrown out trying to steal. And Volquez fires the 2-2. Got him swinging. Strikeout number 4 for Edinson Volquez tonight.
This breaking ball starts about the height of his 2-seamer, but already committed was Chirinos, and this no way to hold up. Missed it by a lot.
Top of the order, Ender Inciarte now. And a strike to Inciarte. As we talked about last week in Miami, Edinson Volquez is no stranger to big games. Opened the 2015 World Series on the day that he learned of the passing of his father. A big member of their postseason rotation that year. Had 2 really good years in Kansas City. And by the way, those 2 good years netted him a 2-year deal to join the Miami Marlins this winter.
I think an excellent choice by him signing there in that spacious stadium. That team, desperate need of innings pitched out of their starting rotation. He should be able to provide that for them.
This is a starter who many people thought might have been on the decline when he was released here in San Diego in 2013. Inciarte with a base hit past Santana into right.
When you throw this kind of pitch to left-handers, you've got to bounce it. This is the sweet spot for a lot of guys who are down and in type left-handed hitters. Watch where this ball is. It's not horrible, right? It's only probably 4 inches off the ground, but that natural swing path. That's why you call that a back foot, either curveball or slider. When you get it to that back foot, they cannot hit it that way. Higher than high or lower than low in that quadrant of the plate to most left-handers.
Well, here's a left-handed hitter with considerable pop as well. Repetición hit a home run yesterday.
I would expect him to be very aggressive on the first pitch. If he thinks it's a fastball, he's letting it go. A changeup to kind of offset if that's your mindset as a pitcher.
A ball and no strikes rather to Repetición, who more than doubled his home run total between 2015 and 2016. 33 last year. And Odor rolls over a ground ball to second base. Cano gathers it in and takes care of Venezuela in the third. Edinson Volquez strong to start this night. Played 2.5. There is no score. Scoreless last half of the third as the Dominican Republic sends up their number 9 hitter, catcher Wellington Castillo, and then Jose Reyes and Manny Machado. On the line tonight is one team going behind in this tournament. 0-2. Castillo pops the first pitch up, and there's one gone. Both the DR and Venezuela losing their first matchups in the bracket. We know what an 0-2 start can do. Each team plays just 3 games in this round-robin style format. The top 2 teams in the bracket move on to the semifinals in LA. So just to reset the big picture here, this is a crucial win for the Dominican Republic and Venezuela. One gone for Jose Reyes. Reyes grounded to shortstop to start the home first. Granted, Ulis Chacin has thrown a lot of sliders tonight, John, but his four-seam fastball has been really effective, and he's averaged 93 miles an hour on it. That's a good 2 miles north of what he averaged last year.
Yeah, and that's why in talking with the pitching coach today, he encouraged him and almost kind of talked him into being at this event and taking care of business here.
Reyes hooks the ball into the right field corner. He can run, and he's going to get it at second base without a play. A one-out double on the game's first extra base hit of the night.
This one hung just a little bit. See how it stayed right there in the middle of the plate? He didn't hit it great, but he hit it off the end of the bat and hooked it in that corner. And then the speed did the rest. And the spotlight, that's a little sign for them. Spotlight. Let's go. Put the spotlight on everybody.
You know, getting back to your earlier question, you know, why has the energy seemed like it's dissipated a little bit? Maybe it's because Jose Reyes didn't play the last 2 games. I mean, this guy makes it happen, right?
He does.
He's the most vocal. He's the spark plug guy at the top of the order. So now Manny Machado flied to right in his first try. Chacin has faced 10 batters. Only 4 of them have had a first pitch strike. Make it 5. Machado to right. And carries for Carlos Gonzalez, however. That's some of the best contact of the night. And it's allowed out number 2.
Probably wondering, why is Reyes not on third? Well, if there had been no outs, he would have anticipated that and been more concentrated effort to get to third base. But because there was 1 out, it was better for him to read that, maybe fall in and get a better jump to home. See, that's the idea right there, that the run would have been more important than getting on third with 2 outs. But it would have been the opposite had there been no outs, because the importance of getting to third with less than 2 outs is greater. That makes sense?
It does. Very well said,
Thanks.
This is just a strategy conversation because nobody's up in the Venezuelan bullpen, and I'm going to guess, John, you tell me if I'm wrong. Are they discussing what to do with Cano here? Would they rather pass him and choose Jose Bautista?
Well, there's been several indicators here, and we see the play again, that Vizquel has gone out and had now 4 different conversations without making a move, all based on strategy on what he expects the pitcher to do to the current batter at the plate, knowing there's always been a base open when he's done that.
Cano told John Paul Morosi before the game he is satisfied with his tournament so far because he's been on base throughout. He's walked a lot. And we'll see if Chacín works carefully to him to the degree that we could call this one of those unintentional intentional walks, a pitch around, if you will.
See, what the manager basically does, the general rule is if you got a guy you trust, a veteran, and you say something like, hey, pitch carefully, pitch around, then you unintentionally walk him. If you've got a young guy that you don't think he can do it, you just take it out of his hands. You go, we're going to walk in. So obviously he gave him a couple pitches to see if Cano expanded the strike zone. He didn't do it, and now he gets his 7th walk of the tournament.
Intentional walk complete, and there are 2 runners aboard now for Jose Bautista, who would like nothing more than to deliver a big blow against Venezuela. It was in May of last year that a blow of a different kind was delivered. After a takeout slide, a clean play, the punch that touched off the melee. There have been bad feelings between these 2 teams for a couple of years, and it all culminated in May in Arlington. So here's Bautista with a chance, runners at first and second, and 2 gone.
He's got to be sitting on a slider.
Oh, there it was.
Man.
He takes it for strike 1.
That would have been the pitch if you're sitting on it.
Fastball off the plate. By the way, an interesting affectation of the rules again. The ceiling for pitchers in this round is 80 pitches. So in that intentional walk, 2 of those 4 pitches counted toward his pitch count, toward his total.
Because they were intentional and not unintentional.
Correct.
What was the word again?
Unintentional, intentional walk.
The word you said before that. A factual, uneffectual, what did you say? Used a big
affectation.
Word. Wow. That's a wow for me. I've never heard you say that before.
No, I got the Google Translate up again. 2 balls and a strike to Bautista. Now it shouldn't be an issue for Chacín because, as Omar Vizquel told us, though he's up to 80 pitches, he can go up to 80 pitches. For Chacín, that number is more like 60. So there's a chance that this is his final hitter. They're only comfortable around that 60 mark for him based on where he is in the spring. Breaking ball locked him up. Best opportunity for either side to score tonight neutralized in the 3rd. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. With John Smoltz and JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, still a scoreless game, top half of the 4th, and Edinson Volquez back to work on the tough middle of the Venezuela order. Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Carlos Gonzalez. A combined 19 All-Star appearances here for Venezuela. Ball and a strike to count to Cabrera, who was a strikeout victim early tonight. Business is always brisk up there, the top of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Those folks want a souvenir.
Last year was their chance.
Home run derby?
All-Star game, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got smoked up there in the hands.
Did you?
Yep.
Slicing into the corner and foul. Oh, I remember that
Yeah,
story.
probably
What
one of
happened?
the dumbest things I've ever done. But I was literally trying to protect somebody sitting next to me. And so I went up to get it. Of course, the ring on the finger and the ball's coming in. StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, had it at about 121 miles per hour, hooking. And I had a nice, I iced my hand with a Diet Coke can. I made it seem like I was just drinking a Diet Coke, but I was icing my hand.
I'm sure Harold appreciated your putting your hands up in front of him. Swing and a miss by Cabrera, and there's one gone. Man, he's gotten twice tonight. You've seen some things in this tournament that you just don't see often, including Cabrera striking out in each of his first 2 plate appearances. Hey, between innings, JP Morosi had a chance to visit with Dominican Republic manager Tony Pena.
Well, Tony, I heard your team song, Que Lo Que Con Que Lo Que, over the loudspeaker, but how hard is it to have the same energy you had there in Miami?
Well, we have the good energy, you know, and the boys having fun, you know, and hopefully we can break this thing down and get our offense going.
Tony, I see the C, the letter C on Cano's jersey for captain. How seriously does he take that responsibility?
Cano take everything serious. And one thing about Robinson is everybody respect him, and whenever he opens his mouth, everybody listen.
Tony, gracias.
De nada, gracias a ti.
The E.F. Hutton of Team Dominican Republic. And what Tony says is right. I mean, he's cultivated respect not only in the Dominican clubhouse, but any clubhouse he would step in. As has this man, Victor Martinez, behind 0-1.
You typically have the shift on Martinez in the right field corner with Cano, but Machado is way back. That's a testament to his gun, but also maybe the legs of Martinez. You rarely see that side of the infield playing that deep.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. The fact that Victor Martinez does not run as well as he once did at the age of 38 and coming back off knee surgery just a few years ago. I mean, he's truly a DH at this point in his career.
I really want to see a ball hit to Machado.
You want to see that throw?
I do. I want to see it.
The 1-2. Got it looking. No throw from shortstop needed. We talked about how rare it is to see during the regular season Cabrera and Martinez strike out in back-to-back fashion. It happened last night, and it happens again tonight.
But the key is in season. 162 games, 500 and some at bats. The rarity of that and their timing being ready. I mean, you know, we gotta, they're not locked in right now, that's for sure.
Two gone, bases empty for Carlos Gonzalez, who walked back in the second. You know, we mentioned for Chacín what Omar Vizquel identified as a pitch count limit, a soft number of about 60. He's at 53, and nobody's up in the Venezuela bullpen.
So what that tells me is he had a conversation, and Chacín definitely let him know how good he feels.
Gonzalez rips a base hit into the opposite field. That ball was smoked. He's had a lot of success against Volquez over the years, and he's aboard with two gone.
He just tracks it real well. I'm going to guess 111. 111.
It's your exit velocity guess?
That's what I'm guessing.
Okay.
What do you got, under or over 111?
Boy, I think you're right on the number. Should have made it 110.5. Here's Jose Altuve now with two out and a runner aboard. Carlos Gonzalez sending that ball whizzing past Manny Machado, who, until we get the reading on that, Machado's got the hardest hit ball of the tournament so far. Boy, you're good. We just got the number in our ears.
I don't think that was. I think they're producers trying to be funny.
Yeah. It's claiming it's real. 110.4. Altuve to the opposite field. Bautista runs it down and makes the Franklin Stubbs style basket catch. Shout out to Frank Stubbs during the WBC. That's right. Played 3.5 in San Diego, and it's scoreless.
Get up for something good this season with MLB Central. Join Matt Vasgersian with Mark DeRosa, Lauren Shahadi, and special guests for your leadoff look at the day in baseball, plus all the news that's central to the game. MLB Central presented by Hyundai. Returning Monday, April 3rd on MLB Network. That was crisp.
Very well done. Nelson Cruz leads things off in the Dominican half of inning number 4.
Well, StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services is going to tell us exactly how hard that ball was hit, the exit velocity, and they weren't lying to us. 110.4.
You were off by 1/10 of a second. You realize that?
I'm going to enjoy this the rest of the year. I think that's going to be our little challenge.
Okay, 1/10 of a mile an hour, by the way. So if that was 110.5, you round up and you're right on it.
Yeah.
Cruz, Santana, and Marte here against Yuli Chacín in the 4th, who, as we mentioned earlier, feels good enough, and he's certainly been effective enough to push the once thought of 60 pitch count a little farther away.
And again, as I talked about earlier, pitch counts are suggestions. If a guy is struggling, it doesn't matter what the pitch count is. You're not going to let him get there. But if he's free and easy, the ball's coming out good like we're seeing him, then everything's fine.
2-2 to Cruz. Cruz homered against Puerto Rico on Tuesday, the second of the World Baseball Classic. But looking here, and not a fan of the strike zone. Wow.
Professional hitters like Cruz understand, track so many baseballs. They don't react like that too often. It's the same side of the plate that there was issues, and when you get that pitch out there, why not keep going out there? That was the one that set this in motion, and that was the final one of the game. Dominicans on the losing end. But even as Tony said, the first inning set the tone for the entire game when they had bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah.
Did not score.
Ball and 2 strikes to Carlos Santana. Again, nobody throwing in the Venezuela bullpen. It appears that this would be Chacín's inning to finish. Seeing the shift, Altuve playing in a traditional second base spot. Started the night at third. He'll go back over there after the shift is over with. Right to him in the shift. And from a very familiar angle, he's able to throw out Santana. Between innings, J.P. Morosi visited with Venezuela's manager, Omar Vizquel.
Omar, how about Altuve at third base?
Well, we decided to make a little change and flip-flop Altuve and Odor. I think Odor is going to feel better playing there. Altuve came to me and said that he can play a little bit of third, so let's see what happens.
With Chacín, Omar, how much longer do you think he can probably go?
Well, on his last start, he pitched 50-some pitches, So I want to make sure that when he gets to 65, he's 100%. He still got some gas left in the tank, and then we make a decision.
Gracias, Omar.
Thank you.
That information right on point and perfectly timed as Starling Marte takes a pitch for a strike, grounded out to in the second. A ball and a strike. You know, in talking about the middle infielders and putting Altuve at third, we visited with Omar about his career as one of the best fielders of his time. 24 years in the big leagues, 11 Gold Gloves, regarded as the premier defensive shortstop in the 90s and beyond. And we asked him about his training. Was he a flat glove guy? Did he take 1,000 ground balls a day? Did he get on his knees and swat balls with his bare hands? He said no, he played a lot of racquetball. He was a good one and still looks like he could get out there and pick it. Eligible for the Hall of Fame coming up in 2018's vote. He made that jump throw look like something he could do rolling out of bed. Terrific range, great arm, and by his own description, his feet what allowed him to get to as many balls as he did. We're not just talking about speed. He was always at the right angle in the right place down low. Grounder to Escobar, and his shortstop tonight makes the play to retire the Dominicans in order in the fourth. Another pitching and defense night in San Diego, and through 4, still a scoreless ball game. Talking about the defensive prowess of the great Omar Vizquel last half inning. Only Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith ended his career with more Gold Gloves in the history of the shortstop position. Countryman Luis Aparicio with 9. Great Oriole Mark Belanger with 8. Davey Concepcion and Derek Jeter both with 5. And as we mentioned, speaking of Hall of Famers, Omar is first year eligible on next year's ballot, JP. What kind of chances does he have as a first year player?
First year might be tough, Matt. The ballot remains so crowded, but in my mind, on my ballot, he's a Hall of Famer. Almost 2,900 hits to go along with all those Gold Gloves you mentioned. But again, Matt, it's so crowded, and of course, a man Mr. Smoltz knows well, Chipper Jones, first time eligible as well. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ballot next year. Some players trending toward election. I think Trevor Hoffman's getting so close, it's going to be hard to imagine his not getting in next year. And if I were a voter, which I am not, Omar Vizquel would get my vote too.
Played a long time. Man, he could pick it.
Played with a lot of dignity as well. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Odubel Herrera. Bottom third of the order for Venezuela in the 5th. Herrera, Escobar, and Chirinos.
It's interesting because the future of baseball, if it continues to the trends that we are under right now, you're going to have to view guys' careers a lot differently, because I don't think many guys are going to get past 15 years, it seems like. I mean, you're just seeing the younger player and the infusion of the younger player, and we're already telling when a player is old based on numbers. So it'll be interesting to see how the game and the length of time that guys play from this day forward, I will tell.
3-0 to Odubel Herrera is ball 4. Well, next year's first year eligibles include the aforementioned Chipper Jones and Omar Vizquel, and Johan Santana's there. So is Jim Thome with over 600 home runs. In the minds of many, he's a first ballot guy. There are some out there in the Hall of Fame conversation, John, and you're aware of these conversations, that they have a problem with the accumulators. They call them accumulators, guys that have played a long time and they log in big numbers because they played so long. There are some voters that feel like you have to have those seasons, those multiple seasons where you have the big eye-popping totals instead of the slow and steady build toward 2,500 hits or 500 home runs.
Yeah, I understand that. I think you got to have a 10-year run. I think you got to have 10 years, but the way it was always viewed, sometimes the way you finish after those 10 years can actually play your way out of Hall of Fame contention in some eyes.
Volquez checking in with Herrera after the leadoff walk. Second walk issued tonight by Volquez.
Because that's the argument that's interesting, right? Guy plays 10 unbelievable years, has an injury, can't come back. He'll be viewed as a Hall of Famer. Played 10 unbelievable years, then the last 5 not so good. It kind of drains on the feeling of what a guy's done. To me, the guy that was headed for a first ballot Hall of Famer, and nobody talks about him, is Andrew Jones. When you look at his first 10 years, it's ridiculous what he did. And talk about gold gloves and the ability to play center field. But the discussion may be what happened after that.
Right. The rather indistinguished years in Los Angeles, part-time duty as a Yankee. I get it. You know, this kind of the polish rubs off a little bit. JP, is Andrew Jones, is he eligible yet or not? Next year, 2 years?
Yes, Matt, he's on the same ballot again. Omar Vizquel, Tomey, he's in that same class now coming up. And again, it's going to be tough for him. But again, 10 gold gloves, 5 all-star appearances. But really, as John pointed out, really changed for him there around the age of 30. So a tough ballot to get on, Matt. So I think he's probably going to miss my ballot, certainly, but someone to keep in mind.
1-0 pitch to Escobar is fouled away.
We will see Andrew in L.A. because he is a coach on the Netherlands teams.
Right. Japan and the Kingdom of the Netherlands qualifying for the semifinals next week. And the only remaining question is who will join them out of this San Diego bracket. The U.S. and Puerto Rico are off to a pretty good start, each of them winning their first matchups. They'll play head-to-head tomorrow. Escobar bunting, and it's a good one. Machado bare hands, throw to first is in time to get him. Manny Machado's been doing that all tournament long.
Just don't understand how hard this play is. I mean, he comes in bare hands it. I'm sure he's done it a bunch of times, but to get a guy who can run and throw it on the money, great bunt and even a greater play. That's the key right there, getting the ball in a position with your hand without that throwing a sailor. You know, sometimes you grab the ball barehanded and you don't have the proper grip, and that ball will sail on you.
He is just a pleasure to watch. A one-out runner in scoring position now for Robinson Chirinos. Ranger catcher against former Ranger property. It was with Texas, by the way, that Edinson Volquez began his major league career as a free agent signing back in 2001. Young hard thrower who drew comparisons to Pedro Martinez, as so many young hard throwing right-handers do, coming from the Dominican. A ball and no strikes from him. Chirinos with a base hit past Machado into left. Herrera to third. First time we've seen a runner at third base on either side tonight. And Venezuela has something going here in the 5th.
Well, Herrera couldn't exactly bust out of there, anticipating the ball. Have to see it go through.
Left-hander Ender Inciarte due up, and Tony Pena wants Fernando Abad out of his bullpen. A pitching change. We'll be right back. Well, Edinson Volquez exits with runners at the corners after 4 1/3 tonight. And he'll hope from some bullpen help to keep his line clean this evening. It's going to be up to the left-hander Fernando Abad, who last appeared on Saturday in Miami. He entered the game in a similar situation. He had a man at second and 2 out in the 6th, and he allowed a run-scoring double to Brandon Crawford. So making his 3rd WBC appearance here tonight, doing so with runners at the corners and only 1 away.
Well, let's see how we got here. And StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to take you to this play. A perfect bunt executed, allowed the runner to get to second. We'll watch Manny Machado as he delivers a strike to first. And these are impressive. Arm strength, you see the number right there. By the way, max speed not too bad at 19.9. But you're talking about arm strength off of one leg falling away. That's impressive.
Another left-handed bat waiting after Inciarte, so this is going to be Abad's jam to try to get out of. What's going to give here? This is interesting because Abad limited left-handers to just a 153 average last year, but Ender Inciarte hit .319 against southpaws. Breaking ball misses the corner, a ball and no strikes. I mean, Inciarte was pretty good against everybody last season. A 31-year-old left-hander acquired by the Red Sox in August after making 39 appearances for the Twins. 1-1.
He's got a good arm. Like I said, I told you these offenses are going to bust out tonight. 0-0. Pitchers have done a nice job.
Yeah, 5 strikeouts for Edinson Volquez tonight. 3 in 4 scoreless innings for Ulyss Chacín. 1-1 on the ground to shortstop. Taylor May for 2, and Fernando Abad gets out of the jam. A well-timed 6-4 3-inning ender. And Venezuela is kept off the scoreboard in the 5th. Still scoreless in San Diego. Inside Petco Park, still a scoreless draw. This has been a fun ball game to watch. Pitching has been tremendous. Edinson Volquez and Fernando Abad combining to keep Venezuela quiet. And the same set of Ulyss Chacín, who continues in the last of the 5th.
Yeah, that was an inning ender double play.
Nice. Ender Inciarte.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that. That's he is though. I can't.
Gregory Polanco leads things off and takes a strike.
Well, both starters have been unbelievable. I mean, this is 2 really good lineups. I don't know if you people know at home what going through these lineups and giving up 0 runs, and really not a whole lot of trouble until last inning for the starters.
You know, Ulyss Chacín has had really positive experiences in this event. He pitched in 2013. And it was during the World Baseball Classic that he picked up a tip from then pitching coach Wilson Alvarez, very accomplished major leaguer. The 2 are from Maracaibo. And Wilson Alvarez kind of took Ulyss Chacín under his wing and actually helped him identify a tip in his fastball delivery, fixed a mechanical flaw. They ironed that out during the World Baseball Classic back then. 3 balls and a strike to Polanco now.
Well, he's been really good to both sides of the plate. He stayed out of the middle for the most part. Threw a lot of sliders in the second and first inning. He's thrown some changeups. But as we noted, his fastball velocity is a tick up tonight than what his average velocity has been in the past.
3-1 to Polanco, hit well to right field. Gonzalez watches it fly. The first run of the night spells the end of the night for Ulyss Chacín. Who's having a better tournament than Gregory Polanco? 7 for 13 with a home run. And after a short visit on the mound, Omar Vizquel's going to leave his starter out there. Man, it looked for sure like Omar made the death walk out there with the hook in his pocket. But Chacín's going to stick around.
Well, another down and in. See, he wanted to go away, but look, down over the plate. Even a guy with a big swing likes the ball down. Left-hander Polanco taking advantage of the count in his favor.
He has got so much pop, man. Starling Marte there, that Pirates connection for Team Dominican Republic. There's Wellington Castillo now. I know that Gregory visited with J.P. Morosi earlier in the tournament, and man, I mean, you can't wipe the smile off his face. He's having the ball. Why wouldn't he be? A ball and a strike to count to Wellington Castillo. So after being told that Ulyss Chacín was probably only good for 60 or so pitches, it looks like Omar's going to let him go the full max, the 80. And with the exception of one mistake to Gregory Polanco, he's been terrific tonight.
Well, for them to get here, they had to do it with every literal pitch they had left in that elimination game. They were down to the bare minimum. They did not have enough pitchers if that game would have been extended past what it was. That being in Mexico.
Now there's a chance here if Castillo can keep spoiling off pitches, 3 more of them, that'll be it for Chacín this plate appearance. Wellington Castillo into the corner and left. That one's got a chance. Caught at the track by Herrera.
That one hit a little bit at the end of the bat, just enough to where it's kept it in the yard. A slider. Watch where he catches it, just at the end of the bat. I mean, anywhere towards that label, that ball goes a lot farther.
This is really something. I mean, Chacín has 2 pitches left, and he's going to start the plate appearance to Reyes.
He can finish the at bat, no matter how many pitches it takes to go over the limit.
Home run and a really loud out against a guy who doubled against him in the 3rd. Omar clearly feels like he needs everything he can get out of his starter. 1-1. That group's ready. Bullpen catcher and a longtime big leaguer Henry Blanco down there. Slider stays low, 2-1.
Good pitch right there. Really been impressed with his command and the effectiveness of his off-speed pitches.
3-1. Machado waits on deck, and then Robinson Cano. Just a refresher on the rules. Seen some great pitching performances here in San Diego. Chacins will rank right up there with them as he loses Reyes on ball 4. And that will officially spell the end of the night. Leadoff home run, then a 1-out walk. That's a wrap on Chacin after a very strong 4 1/3. Took a while for the scoreboard to get cracked tonight. And the Dominicans would love to add on now that they're into the Venezuela bullpen. Be right back. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Well, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to take us through this home run. Breaks the tie. And a look pitch down and in, and Polanco absolutely crushes it. 104.8, 394 is the distance. And Dominican out of the dugout for the first time tonight.
Chacin was really great tonight. 4 1/3, just the one mistake. Walked 3, struck out 3. The Gregory Polanco home run, the difference so far tonight. Still plenty of baseball left, as they say, for Janiel Medina, who takes over here with 1 out in the 5th.
Have to piece this together out of the bullpen. Not a ton of experience down there, but Omar Vizquel will do his best of mixing and matching.
All the U.S. runs in Venezuela's loss yesterday came against the bullpen. Snap throw down to first, and that's where Reyes is back in time. You know, we talked about this in regards to any matchup that the Dominican Republic has against most of the competition in Miami, save maybe the U.S., and that's that they are equipped with big bullpen arms. And close and late games, you have to kind of tip the scales the advantage to the Dominican Republic based on the bullpens. A little larger lead for Reyes this time. One and 2 to Manny Machado.
I got to give Medina credit on this. He's going after Machado with 3 straight fastballs. Let's see what the left-handers have done and the right-handers yet to check in.
Yeah, and we're not talking about garden variety right-handers either. You're talking about Machado, Bautista, Cruz. Next pitch from John Daniel Medina is fouled away.
Got away with that slider. Did not do what he had hoped it was going to do.
Medina signed when he was just a 16-year-old. Signed by the Cubs. Traded to the Pirates a few years after that. And most recently, just a few days after Christmas this past year, signed as a minor league free agent with the Cubs. loser in this one goes to 0-2 and is really backed up against it with only one game left in this round-robin style bracket. Tomorrow, the U.S. and Puerto Rico. Biggest lead so far for Jose Reyes. And a fly ball into shallow right. Odor tracking it from second for out number 2. p.m. Eastern, 7 local tomorrow for the U.S. and Puerto Rico. Seth Lugo on the mound for Puerto Rico, and the U.S. counters with Marcus Stroman as you see the standings through one game apiece. And Omar is going to make back-to-back pitching changes. He wants a left-hander now for Robinson Cano. Second pitching change of the inning. We'll be right back. Robinson Cano, don't you know? Come on! Home run! Cano! Oh, mercy! There's 2. Showtime. That swing is just an absolute thing of beauty. Well, Robinson Cano was the 2013 World Baseball Classic MVP, a part of the undefeated run the Dominicans made 4 years ago. He has been a little quiet here so far. Just 3 for 13. He's walked a lot, and he'll have an opportunity now against the young left-hander Jose Alvarado out of the Venezuela bullpen.
Straight over the top fastball, going to attack you with that. He's got good late break to his curveball. Obviously pitches out of the stretch, but he has to in this situation anyways. Runner on.
Another young member of that bullpen, just 21 years old. He's never pitched above Class A, but he's really opened eyes in Tampa Bay and is still hopeful that he'll win a job in their big league bullpen this year. Cano has singled and been intentionally walked tonight. Jose Reyes walked with 1 away. Machado flied to right. See if Reyes tries to run here against the left-hander. Spike the throw to start out. Jose Bautista waiting on deck. A run in here in the 5th on the home run by Gregory Polanco. Cano with a pop for the shortstop Escobar. 1 pitch, and the young left-hander's out of the jam. This game finally has a run on the board, however. Gregory Polanco's leadoff dinger. Rougned Odor leads things off in the Venezuela half of inning number 6 as Fernando Abad continues. Abad finished the 5th. He got the double play ball that foiled the jam and then sat down for a considerable period after a rather long bottom half of the 5th, one that involved a pair of pitching changes. Odor, Cabrera, and Martinez here for Venezuela. 1-1.
Yeah, it was about 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
it was 20 minutes.
I don't have an official time on that, but that sounds right to me. Runs have been at a premium in the 2nd round of the tournament here at Petco Park. 11 runs in 23 innings of WBC play that started here on Tuesday night. We talked about it earlier. You liked pitching here when you were closing and starting.
Sure did. Never had to face a lineup like this, though.
Ball and 2 strikes from Abad to Odor. Miguel Cabrera struck out twice tonight. He's hitless so far in San Diego, 0 for 5 over the last 2 games. Tomorrow night, the U.S. and Puerto Rico. It's 7 o'clock local time, 10 p.m. in the East Coast.
Get out!
Foul ball up the line. Santana did his best to get there before it trickled foul. That's Byung-Ju Kim, the South Korean umpire at first base tonight. Two balls and 2 strikes to Rougned Odor.
Doesn't get cheated. There's Odor. Controlled aggressiveness.
.33 home runs and 88 driven in his breakthrough offensive year last season in Arlington. The glove still a bit of a work in progress. So the Rangers love what they have in him, just 23 years old. Two from Abad. Bounced foul again.
It's been a theme tonight. A lot of foul balls.
That's it. He's ready to go home. The next 2-2 to Odor. I want to say there's been more conversation in this game tonight. Last night's as well. Venezuela sending manager, pitching coach, catcher, some combination of that out often. Robinson Chirinos was out there on the mound all night last night. And here it's Castillo and Cano chatting up Abad. This is like a Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit thing going on. This will be the 9th pitch of the plate appearance on its way. 5 foul balls. Two misses in. When you see Rougned Odor's helmet, what's the first thing you think of?
I don't want to touch it.
Okay, what's the second thing you think of?
I mean, Ozzie Guillen, maybe?
Yeah, you bet. He commits and strikes out, finally succumbing after an 11th pitch plate appearance. Hey, a reminder, follow every pitch of the World Baseball Classic live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all year long by downloading MLB.com at-bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. And join Major League Baseball with New Era as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your cap on April 3rd and share a photo on social media using #CapsOn. And then tune into all the action on opening day, April 3rd on ESPN, MLB Network, and MLB.com. Fernando Abad removed after the big strikeout to start the top half of the 6th. So with 1 gone and the bases empty, Tony Pena goes to the bullpen. Take a knee, lads. We'll be right back. He's home here in San Diego for a lot of years, broke in as a Padre. And in the foreground, you can't really see him, the great Dave Concepcion is here tonight as well. Key cog in the big red machine. Dave's got his back to us. There's Davey. Well, Miguel Cabrera is going to bat now with the bases empty and 1 away. And Cabrera has struck out twice tonight. He'll face Hansel Robles, the 24-year-old right-hander who finished the 2016 season as a Met with a top 10 strikeout total among National League relievers. I know what you're thinking, John, with Cabrera having struck out twice. How many times last year did he strike out 3 or more times in a game?
First number that came to mind was 3.
Good guess. Happened only 6 times. One and one. You know, we showed Dave Winfield there. There's actually a little bit of a tie-in there with Miguel Cabrera. Because last year, Miguel Cabrera hit the ball at least 100 miles an hour, 16 more times than any other player. So he put the most balls in play at 100 miles or more, according to StatCast. Manny Machado, no way! Oh, man. I mean to tell you, you could just watch it all day and never get tired. Manny Machado is unreal.
Like I said, if you've never seen this guy play, this is all you got to look at is this defensive wizard. He got a little help from Santana, but this is unbelievable strength. Down the line, looks like it's definitely a hit. And you can imagine it be a little off target. What a good pickup by Santana. Avoiding the spikes of Cabrera.
That's the Manny Machado signature play, drifting way into foul territory and making a preposterous throw. Here's Victor Martinez now. He takes a strike. Man.
And that's just arm strength, athleticism.
He's almost in the dugout when he makes that throw. Oh, and 1 to Victor Martinez. So back to the exit velocity. You know, we're talking about this a lot more as you can take a look at a sharply hit ball off Cabrera's bat here once again. Cabrera put the ball in play at 100 miles or more often than anybody last year. And we were talking about exit velocity with Tony Pena before the game. And we asked him, who are the guys that hit the ball the hardest when you played? Who were the Dominican-born players that did that? I was expecting Rico Cardi, and he confirmed that. He also said Felipe Alou. George Bell's name came up, but the guy he said that he played against who hit the ball harder than anybody was Dave Winfield. Not Dominican. But if he were to answer, you know, of anybody, players of any ethnicity, any team, any league, it was Winfield.
6'8", stood away from the plate and dove in and attacked the baseball. Free sports star, University of Minnesota, right?
Yeah, that's right. JP, I think Dave Winfield would be the answer to a lot of those fastest, strongest, best questions.
Matt, you could argue one of the best all-around athletes in American history. Drafted in the NBA, the ABA, the NFL, and a Major League Baseball Hall of Famer.
Ben, could you imagine if Dave Winfield had chosen the ABA instead of Major League Baseball? He would have turned into like a Will Ferrell movie. He chose wisely. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Do you remember a game with more foul balls than this one, by the way?
No, but I always chuckle when the people behind home plate have the screen, but they're just, no, one of these days the ball's coming through the screen. Watch this guy. Oh, we had too low of the shot. I mean, he dove into the seat in front of him.
Maybe we'll see him here. Which guy are we looking for?
Watch out!
Oh, that guy.
They all realized it afterwards, like, what are they doing?
The next 2-2 to Martinez, struck him out. Fernando Abad and Hansel Robles combined to get the tough part of the Venezuela order. 1, 2, 3. Plugging right along tonight. Defensive gems and pitching highlights aplenty in a 1-0 ball game. There's a new season in the works, and MLB Network is bringing you 11 live opening week games, plus live look-ins and analysis from the best in the biz on MLB Tonight. Opening week coverage presented by Best Western beginning April 2nd on MLB Network. We got a new first baseman for Venezuela, and that is not good news for them. And it's nothing personal against Hernan Perez, who's a terrific, versatile major league player, but it means that something is wrong with Miguel Cabrera. And according to J.P. Morosi, who got the info from Omar Vizquel, it is a tight lower back. And Cabrera, the 11-time All-Star, removed on a precautionary measure here. You can understand the kid gloves caution that's being exercised.
Here's a good arm. We keep saying that a lot. For Infante, straight over the top fastball and a slower breaking ball, curveball.
One and one the count to Jose Bautista. Gregory Infante last year split time as White Sox property between AA and AAA, appeared in 39 games, finished with an ERA over 5. Last year, I stand corrected, in the Phillies system. He is White Sox property going into this year. Signed a minor league deal with Chicago in January. Two balls and a strike to Jose Bautista.
99. Woo. On the black.
To Bautista, fouled away.
Well, for Bautista, if you're looking for where his home runs usually go, you have to look in one area. Basically, anywhere to central to left central. There is very few that ever go to right field. That might have been the one mistake. Yep, Yankee Stadium. I would have guessed that.
Base hit for Jose Bautista. Snaps Bautista out of an 0 for 5 here at Petco Park, and he's aboard to set the table in the 6th inning for Nelson Cruz.
That was the old fastball's getting by him. Tried to trick him with the curveball. Actually helped out Bautista as he gets a base hit. 99 on the black, and then this thing rolling over the middle of the plate. That's not going to get it done against a great hitter.
A couple of strikeouts on the line of Nelson Cruz tonight. We talked a lot about exit velocity tonight, hard hit baseballs, and how Miguel Cabrera hit a bunch over 100 miles an hour. Right to Odor. Flips to Escobar for one. And the easy toss back to first to complete the double play. He hit that one hard, but right at the Venezuela second baseman.
Tailor-made, really, once he got by the pitcher. Little lob to first.
Two out, bases empty now for Carlos Santana, so that kind of aborts the discussion of Nelson Cruz leading baseball in average exit velocity last year. And now it's Santana with two on, with two out rather, and nobody on.
Tell you what, this kid's got a live arm. I got a little category of impressive, you know. He makes it.
Put a little star next to his name.
Yeah.
Hang a star on that one, as the great Jerry Coleman used to say here. Two balls and no strikes, just to kind of pay off the exit velocity conversation. Cruz hit it on average just under 96 miles an hour. Two balls and no strikes to Carlos Santana, batting left-handed. That's where he gets his power. Next pitch to the switch hitter. He checks a swing, and it's 3-0. 30 of Santana's record-setting 34 home runs last year as an Indian came from the left side of the plate. 34 home runs last year, an Indians record for switch hitters. See, this is where the exit velocity discussion meets a little bit of an Achilles heel for me. So that ball that Cruz hit, the double play ball, he hit it over 112 miles an hour. Well, the ball was smoked, but it was a double play ball. Santana rifles the ball into right center, and that gets past Gonzalez. A two-out double in the DR sixth. There's nobody up in the Venezuela bullpen. Again, another slow walk to the mound by Omar Vizquel. There's no option here. This is just conversation.
This guy right here has made up for the lack of noise that's going on. He's talking to every hitter. He has not sat down. He is fiercely into this game, and as if he knows every single guy.
That's the DR's answer to Turtle from Entourage.
Yeah, absolutely. Good call.
I know how this works. If he keeps going, he's going to end up on the charter.
He's into it.
Here's Starling Marte now. Marte has reached on a fielder's choice and grounded out tonight, hitless. A non-starter yesterday. Trying to pick up Carlos Santana with two gone here in the sixth. Starling Starling Marte might not have the build of Nelson Cruz, the broad shoulders of Manny Machado, but pound for pound, people around the Pirates say he's one of the strongest players they have on their roster. And apparently it's the hands, which he uses to send a drive to center field. It'll hang up for Ender Inciarte. Como se dice turtle in Espanol? Nothing in the DR half of the sixth. They continue to lead 1-0, much to the delight of our newest hero. These two teams tonight look for their first win and try to avoid a 0-2 start. And a swing and a miss, swing and a miss. Got him swinging. Ball strike three. Gonzalez watches it. You could just watch it all day and never get tired. Dellin Betances, the latest to work out of the DR bullpen in a 1-0 game. We welcome you back to Petco Park with John Smoltz, JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. Been a fun one to watch. A lot of strikeouts, some terrific defense. One well-timed swing by Gregory Polanco has been the difference as Betances goes to work here in the seventh.
Well, pretty simple. He throws hard, tremendous breaking ball. But can he throw enough strikes with his fastball? Guys don't let him even get to that because they swing a lot at his breaking ball.
Carlos Gonzalez was 1 for 1 with a walk. Singled against the starter Edinson Volquez. Volquez was around for 4 1/3. Yuli Chacin for 4 1/3. You know, it's wild how in baseball a guy who comes up as that, you know, young kind of whippersnapper evolves into being a leader. And I guess that's the way it's supposed to go. It doesn't always go that way, but that's certainly the way it went for Edinson Volquez. We kind of indicated earlier, you know, when he signed as an amateur out of the Dominican Republic with the Rangers, he was the next Pedro Martinez. He had a swagger about him. He had a hot head. He was a temper guy. Betances fields the chip shot. There's one gone. And the Rangers, to try to get to him, established what they called the Volquez rules when he was a minor leaguer. And thanks to the terrific online service playerprofiles.com, I dug up the Volquez rules from the minor leagues from the Rangers, and these were real. Here were the rules: had to get on and off the field in 12 seconds. Right, this is when he was in extended spring, rookie ball, and A ball. He had to beat the second baseman to the dugout when the inning was over.
Wow. You
know, no lingering, no conversations with the umpire. Finish the inning, get on the dugout. Here's Altuve now. He had to have his shirt tucked in. And on days when he started, when he was still in the game, between innings, he could only talk to the catcher, the manager, and the pitching coach. Because he'd fly around, very social, buzzing around with everybody, chit chat. So even though Volquez went on to establish a star elsewhere after he was traded by the Rangers for Josh Hamilton, it was the Rangers that really had a big part in developing him as a pitcher. A ball and 2 strikes to Jose Altuve.
I'm sure he accomplished most of those rules. Maybe not all the time, had to be reminded. But.
Yeah. Hey, how did that not hit him? Dellin Betances is 6'8". Jose Altuve is about a foot shorter. cannot believe that ball didn't graze him a little. You couldn't put a paper clip in between the ball and the jersey there.
This probably has breaking ball written all over it. Oh, he's going back. Heater away.
Ground ball for Cano. And that's out number 2. We're going to have a pinch hitter now. Playing in his home ballpark. And Yangervis Solarte will swing the bat here. Solarte finished with very good numbers for last year's Padres. The numbers are more impressive, JP, when you consider what he went through on a personal level last year.
Indeed, Matt, he's the recipient of the 2016 Tony Canigliaro Award after a tragic year for his family. His 31-year-old wife and mother of their 3 children, Juliet, died of cancer in the month of September. He was nominated for that award by the Padres, and the Padres Vice President Tom Seidler said this, quote, "In the midst of a personally challenging year, and despite suffering the kind of loss that many of us can't fathom, Yangervis showed up to the ballpark each day and played his heart out, always supporting his teammates with a smile."
Not to mention, JP, he's a really good player, and he's the guy that when you talk to teammates, even former teammates, when he was a Yankee, Alex Rodriguez used to sing his praises. Joe Girardi, his manager, used to say, people don't understand what a good player this is. He's finally getting an opportunity to play every day in San Diego. And Solarte has a pinch hit single. That's his ex-teammate.
Breaking ball, and again just hit it enough over Cano's head, giving Escobar a chance with 2 outs. This ball hangs over the middle.
Alcides Escobar has singled and been caught stealing tonight. I believe that Venezuela, John, has had a total of 1 base runner in scoring position tonight.
Yeah, it is amazing. This lineup has gone cold at the wrong time.
And again, they're playing the rest of this one tonight without the services of Miguel Cabrera, who, as we mentioned last inning, for those just joining us, was removed in a precautionary measure because of a tight lower back. Castillo. Solarte becomes the 2nd Venezuela base runner to reach scoring position tonight. He does so on a wild pitch. That actually might be scored as a pass ball.
Man's caught every inning. Not too many at 100 miles an hour. That ball just sails. And, you know, probably catchable.
Escobar battling. It's a ball and 2 strikes. When we go to the bottom of the 7th inning tonight, it'll be Polanco, Castillo, and Reyes. And again, it was Polanco's solo home run that finally cracked the scoreboard tonight in the bottom of the 5th.
Another breaking ball that hung over the middle. He's got to bury this one away if he's going to get Escobar to chase.
The 1-2. Breaking ball, grounded foul. Does he triple up on it here? Another one?
I mean, he hadn't made the perfect pitch yet. I mean, he could set it up with throwing a high fastball or a fastball away and then come back with it at a 1-2 count. But I think Castillo went out there and said, listen, throw this pitch and let him hit it to Machado. Machado will get us out of the inning.
Venezuela's hitters have fouled off roughly 1/3 of the pitches that they've seen tonight. It's amazing.
It almost worked. Castillo said, you just got to get him to hit it to Machado. The inning over.
Still the ball and 2 strikes to Alcides Escobar. Dominican bullpen blessed with some big arms. 4 potential closers. The guy at the end of the game is Mets right hand Jeurys Familia. Next one on the way, swung on and missed it. 98 miles an hour. 2-out single left stranded. 7th inning stretch in San Diego, still a 1-0 game. The network presented by Geico. The Star of India, anchored at the bay downtown, one of the many maritime tourist attractions here. You been on the aircraft carrier?
I was just getting ready to ask you that.
Midway?
It's one of the most impressive things I've ever done.
Yeah, that is a super cool tour. I think they opened, I understand they opened the bottom deck recently. You can go down underneath now. That is a must-see visit. There it is.
It's unreal.
Decommissioned around the time of the Vietnam conflict. Permanently based here in San Diego as a museum. And it's really something to see. Pitching change as the young Jose Castillo takes over on the mound. Castillo very impressive yesterday as we got our first look at him. 21-year-old. And the lefty's first offering to Gregory Polanco is in for a strike.
Fastball slider combination, and he was impressive.
Polanco, Castillo, and Reyes. DR would love a little insurance. Nursing a 1-0 lead. One that came their way with the Polanco home run in the 5th.
I guess some of these younger guys who are used to pitching in winter ball in the Caribbean World Series, not fazed by some of these superstars.
And a base hit the other way for Polanco. Man, he is just having a great tournament. 8 for 14.
Fastball didn't get up quite as far as Chirinos wanted it, but got to tip your hat. Polanco goes with the pitch.
Tony, he's a slightly bigger Ben Oglivie. It's been fun to watch. Here's Wellington Castillo now. 0 for 3 yesterday, hitless, or rather Tuesday, and hitless so far tonight. He's homered in the tournament, a 2-run shot in the DR's 9-2 win over Canada.
Altuve playing in at third. Yep, that's right. He's playing third tonight, anticipating a bunt from Castillo.
ball to no strikes. You know, usually when there's a 1-0 game, you roll through, you know, quick outs. This one has really plodded along. And we're not saying that in a negative sense, but it's been a very deliberate pace tonight. A lot of foul balls, as we've documented. 2-0. I am reminded by our statistician, the great Ed Safita, of one of the legendary matchups that used to happen in this city that yielded a series of 1-0 scores. And that's when our colleague Jim Cott, who's on the air right now for MLB International, used to draw the 1976 Cy Young Award winner in the National League, the great Randy Jones, who was here at the ballpark last night. Those guys would get together, and it would take like an hour and 20 minutes. They both go complete games. Escobar lets it drop, so they get the better speed off the base pass. And Tony Peña's coming out. He's got questions about that. Polanco forced on the play, and it's Castillo aboard with one gone.
So the infield fly rule won't come into effect with the runner on first base. First and second, that would have been called infield fly.
So here's Jose Reyes now. You like that play?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Polanco runs well, and you're trading his speed for the catcher at first base. Why don't we see that more in the big leagues?
Guys are afraid of making a mistake and having it look bad. Escobar looked over and saw that Polanco, before he was even thinking about catching it, wasn't anywhere off the bag, so where he could let it drop and safely throw a ball to second and get the force out. It's no different on a bunt that's popped up to the pitcher. All he has to do is let that ball drop. Now watch Escobar right here. Okay, right about here he starts looking over, and he looks over and sees that the runner's going back to first, easy out at second. If you pop a bunt up and the runner, the guy at the plate is not running because he anticipates the out, it's an easy double play.
Yeah.
The fear is you end up throwing it over the second baseman's head as a pitcher and you don't get any out, which I did, but.
Well, you know, Castillo didn't put it in gear until he realized what Escobar was doing.
Right. I used to tell Bobby Cox, Bobby, when this play happens, you're going to thank me because this is going to be a double play. Castillo right there understands that's a pop-up and then says, uh-oh, I better get it going. So, yeah, that play happened to me. I pretended like I couldn't see it right away and let it bounce and chucked it to center field.
It's a full count to Reyes now.
So this is the point really right here where Escobar is looking. All right, so he sees that and he looks over to the runner and he plays it cool and then says, whoops. I'll get the speed off the bases and help our chances.
It's fouled away. That is the ultimate fielder's choice play.
Yeah.
I mean, that really defines the term.
You know, the do or die play in between second and right field where the runner's in no man's land and there's nothing he can do, and the hitter would have got a hit, but he couldn't get to second place. That becomes that force at second. There's enough of those plays in baseball where the runner really doesn't have a good option. And the hitter just has to make sure he's prepared to get to the base. Otherwise, it is a double play.
Chirinos crowds Reyes on the 3-2 pitch home. Popped into shallow center field. Inciarte coming hard, and a Gold Glover is there to make the catch. There's a market for heads-up players, and ask Ned Yost what he thinks about Escobar. Loves him. Won a World Series with him, and he will be on the market, barring some arrangement made with his current employer this year, next winter, JP.
Well, Matt, think about that 2014 season. Escobar started all 162 games that year, becoming the first shortstop to do so since Jimmy Rollins back in 2007. That team lost Game 7 of the World Series. 1 week later, Escobar is on a plane with the MLB All-Stars to play in an All-Star Tour of Japan. 1 week after losing Game 7, Matty, he loves the game of baseball.
Yeah, you bet. He plays with a passion. Another conversation on the mound. Man, Omar has been in and out of the dugout all night.
It's another situation again where you're talking to your young pitcher, reminding him of who's on deck instead of who's at the plate. Be careful with the guy at the plate because you got the guy on deck, but the choices aren't good. I'm the young guy. I'm like, yeah. No.
Well, Manny Machado's the assignment here. Castillo gave up the single to Polanco. Then the fielder's choice play where Escobar let the pop-up drop. Reyes flies out. It's a ball and no strikes to Manny Machado, with Robbie Cano waiting next. Manny was 1 for 4 on Tuesday with 3 strikeouts. 0 for 3 so far tonight. Hasn't hurt him on the other side of the scorecard, though. 2-1.
Timing just a little bit off. He was locked in Miami, man. Every ball he hit, he squared up. Of course, they're pitching awfully careful here.
Yeah. Three balls and a strike to Manny Machado, with Robinson Cano next. 2-out runner at first. And there's ball 4 to Machado.
You know, if we only could have seen some good defense since we've been doing this, you know, just any good defense. Oh, wait, we have Manny Machado basically saying Brooks Robinson, one of the best at third, he is making a run in this single tournament, a highlight show for himself. Unbelievable.
He's aboard after the 2-out walk. First and second with 2 away now for Robinson Cano, who has singled and been intentionally walked tonight. Cano last year against left-handers hit .275, slightly under his career .287 mark against left-handed pitching. Yes, he's better against right-handers, but there's not a huge drop-off by any stretch. Two big runs out there for him. He takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, definitely a ball game right here. Robinson Cano led off with a single, but he could break this game into a much bigger cushion. 1-0 game with that bullpen that the Dominican have is pretty good. An extra run makes it even better.
He was the MVP of the 2013 tournament. Three for 14 so far in this running of the Classic. That was a defense swing, and it's 0-2.
Tried to get it away, but went up and in and tied up Cano.
DR just has not had the kind of opportunities tonight that you would have thought. 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They've stranded 6 base runners. Again, the only run of the night, the Polanco home run in the 5th. 0-2. Cano with a base hit into right center field. They'll wave Castillo around to score. And Robinson Cano comes through. Tortuga loving it in the stands.
Well, he stayed in there on this breaking ball. Slider that didn't get quite enough off the plate. Great plate coverage. And he just slaps it in the right center. Goes to second on the throw from Gonzalez.
There's our guy.
Ready.
The Dominican Republic had been 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position since they got to San Diego. And who else but the great Robinson Cano is the guy that delivers that big hit. Another Venezuela pitching change in a now 2-0 game. We'll be right back. More WBC action from here in San Diego tomorrow night when 1-0 Puerto Rico takes on the undefeated team from the U.S. this round. And then doubleheader action on Saturday, Puerto Rico and Venezuela. The nightcap, the United States and the Dominican Republic. That's Saturday at 7 local, 10 p.m. Eastern. Jose Bautista is the first to face the 6th Venezuela pitcher tonight, the big Rondon. Bruce Rondon making back-to-back appearances here at Petco Park.
96 and above on the fastball. Slider that goes down when he stays on it, meaning doesn't fall off towards the first base side of the rubber.
Machado, the runner, at third. Cano at second, with a run in and 2 away here in the 7th. Ball and a strike to Jose Bautista. Only one career meeting between these two over the years. Hey. Two balls and a strike. Nelson Cruz waiting on deck.
No.
Base open, 3-1. Make it a good pitch.
Rondon ended up having a nice year last season after failing to make the opening day roster, called up for good in June. Full count now, 3-2 to Jose Bautista.
That one had a little less speed on it and a lot more break. Started over the middle of the plate, disappeared. Respected 97, 98, and he stayed on that. That's what I was talking about. That spin is more consistent.
The payoff pitch. Got him swinging. He doubled up on that pitch to strike out Jose Bautista and minimize the damage. However, one more for the DR on the Robinson Cano 2-out, 2-strike RBI single. It's 2-0 Dominican Republic. You only get one chance to make a good first impression. MLB Tonight takes you inside every team's training camp for your first impression on how teams stack up this season. MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 30 days. Go to MLBnetwork.com for the full schedule.
Where are we in that process? Are we 20 days in? 21?
We have to be nearing a conclusion. I know that I saw Brian Kenny down there at Braves camp today.
Oh.
With Kevin Millar, I believe. So they're getting close. They're in the grapefruit. They're in Florida. It's where the Tampa Bay Rays hold their spring training. And their closer, Alex Colomé, takes over for the DR here at the top of the 8th. Robinson Chirinos, the first to bat for Venezuela. It'll be Chirinos, then Inciarte and Odor. That additional run, that RBI single by Cano, is so big because you fade the chance of the solo home run tying the game. If the DR bullpen can just keep the bases clean, they can sneak out of here with a win and avoid falling to 0-2. It would be Venezuela that would have the exceedingly tall order of trying to qualify for Los Angeles despite an 0-2 start. And they'll know a little bit more about their fate after tomorrow's U.S.-Puerto Rico game. But as we saw in Miami, John, and as we saw in Jalisco, Mexico, you really can't do much speculation until the whole bracket is played out.
No, but this is for sure. If Venezuela does not go on to win, they need the U.S. to go 3-0, period. Because then that could set up 3 1-2 teams, and then Venezuela would have to score some runs.
What about Puerto Rico going 3-0?
That does Venezuela no good.
Swing and a miss as Chirinos is finished off.
I think it does it no good because what happens is you're going to have basically the U.S. and Dominican playing for a 2-1 spot.
I see.
So the only chance that Venezuela has is that they have to have the U.S. If they lose, they have to have the U.S. go 3-0. I should be on the committee. I'm digging the I got this.
It sounds like you're politicking for it a little bit.
No, I'm not.
A ball and no strikes, the count to Ender Inciarte. Inciarte has singled, struck out, and grounded into a double play. As John pointed out, an inning ender. Cue up the rim shot. 2-0. Alex Colomé has been impressive in the tournament. Last year in Tampa Bay, and I think it was a little underreported because he only assumed the closer's duties after Brad Boxberger hurt himself in camp. So, you didn't hear about Colomé outside of Tampa Bay as much as you should have. He struck out 31% of the batters he faced last year. He was lights out.
I mean, he's smooth. He doesn't have wasted motion. He's got really good life to his pitches, and that cutter slash slider at 90 miles an hour disappears.
It's 3 balls and a strike. Rougned Odor waiting next. Full count.
That's another guy thinking that ball's outside, and he is thinking right. So he's getting ready to go to first base. Now he's got to have a little bit of protection on that side, running the risk of a called third strike over there.
Ground ball to second. Cano with a tough chance. It squirts past him. Enciarte still moving on his way to second.
Wow. Ball hit him on the shin.
Boy, great hustle from Ender Enciarte. Once that ball got past Cano, he never stopped.
Cano makes everything look smooth, and sometimes when the ball doesn't come up, it makes it look like he wasn't going after it, but he was. He's just so good with his glove hand. This ball just stays down on the one hop. But I like the hustle right here, never taking for granted. And then watch him slide in and get a little ouch. That hop was supposed to come up. At least Cano was hoping it would come up. Oh, it hit his shin guard. Good break there.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't hurt.
So here's Odor now. He's been held hitless tonight, 0 for 3.
See what Odor did right there with his hand, just reminding himself, stay up, stay up. That pitch was a slider down, and he had a good take because his eyes, to him, he's not going to chase down if that's his plan of attack when he goes to the plate. Trying to see the ball up and then letting the barrel go.
Colombay's 1-0. Stays high, 2 balls and no strikes. You know who's set up to be a hero for Venezuela tonight is the guy on deck. Hernan Perez came on for Miguel Cabrera when the 11-time All-Star was removed because of a tight lower back.
See, that's a great take. And again, if you're ultra aggressive and trying to make something happen, you're swinging at that pitch. That's why you make those pitch selections. But he's been patient. Let's see if they give him the green light at 3-0. Sometimes on 3-0 you can get out of that patient approach and expand the zone trying to come out of your shoes.
A drive to the opposite field that's going to die for Polanco. Well, the green light.
Yeah, I mean, if you know you're getting a fastball and it's in a position right there, you're supposed to do something with it. And fortunately, he just got underneath it just a little bit.
Yeah, Odor frustrated. He knew that he let Colomay off the hook a little bit. Here comes pitching coach Bill Castro. Possibly a little refresher course on Hernan Perez. And a whole infield gathers here. Perez making his first plate appearance of the night. We mentioned Perez is set up to be a hero here because he's batting in the spot occupied by Miguel Cabrera. You'd rather have Perez than Cabrera if you're the Dominican Republic. We'll see what Perez can do with the opportunity. Versatile player. Was used late in the game last night.
Yeah, that meeting right there wasn't to remind him he got a base open. That meeting right there was say we got to attack. And here's our plan. Let's attack the zone. Martinez is on deck.
Well, Perez is a better than 300 hitter for his career with 2 out and runners in scoring position. But to restate the obvious, he's batting in Miguel Cabrera's spot, who, by the way, in his career against Alex Colomay is 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. Oh, and 1 the count to Hernan Perez.
Venezuela take anything. Broken bat hit, something to get them on the board.
Hernan Perez has turned into a very productive waiver claim for the Milwaukee Brewers. That's how he originally got there back in June of 2015. He played 7 positions for the Brewers last year. He's behind here, a ball and 2 strikes. And Ciarte off second. Struck him out. A pair of strikeouts from a guy who is a strikeout artiste during the regular season. Alex Colomé holds the 2-0 Dominican lead. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Heineken. Open your world. And by the Puerto Rico Tourism Company. Visit cpuertorico.com to plan your trip today. Nelson Cruz to face the newest and the 7th pitcher used by Venezuela tonight. He worked in yesterday's game as well, through a scoreless inning against the U.S. Arsenio Leon takes over in the last of the 8th, and Nelson Cruz takes him opposite field. And gone! His 3rd of the tournament.
Safe to say that Nelson Cruz is strong. This is hit the other way, and he knows he's hit it good. Whether or not it gets over the wall, within 40 feet, he'll know. And it did.
Carlos Santana now. It's the 8th home run of the tournament for Team Dominican Republic. They have struck for a pair tonight. Single runs in the 5th, 7th, and now the 8th. One and one. A hard time with the Alfa Romeo player of the game tonight, John.
Yeah, that is a
I mean, you got Polanco has 2 hits and a home run.
That's who I'm going with.
Yeah, it's probably the best choice. Cruz has hit a blast here. He's hit 3 in the tournament. My goodness.
A little wrinkle here. Slider.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Santana. Edson Volquez could get some consideration. He was terrific on the mound to start this game. 4 1/3. Swing and a miss.
Well, earlier this inning ended and somebody lost his way. Not the pitch, but lost his way. Let's watch this strikeout. He turned around. He said, all right, I'm going to my dugout. Whoops, not there. Did the hokey pokey and turned himself around.
Starling Marte now. It is odd in this tournament style format. You know, the home team one day, the next day you're in the visiting side. You're never really settling into the clubhouse. One and one. Again tomorrow night, the U.S. and Puerto Rico. It's a 7 p.m. start here locally on the West Coast. Stay up late back east and catch that one at 10 p.m. and then doubleheader action on Saturday.
2 for the price of 1.
Yeah,
Not
Puerto
really.
Rico. What do you mean, not really?
They got to clear out the stadium.
Oh, that's true. Puerto Rico and Venezuela the early game, and then the U.S. and DR at night.
For us, it's 2 for the price of 1.
It's getting their money's worth. You know, when I was working in the minor leagues, and we had double headers, there was a guy, a colleague of mine, who was working for a different team, and he would take 3 innings off, and he would turn on a transistor radio, and he would lay his headset down next to the transistor radio and put the other guy's play-by-play on for 3 innings so he could take a blow. He called it the hometown innings. So he would be the visiting guy. He'd just knock off for a little while. The ground ball to second base for Odor. Yank the throw. That's going to be the 3rd error charged to Rougned Odor in 2 nights here. And it puts Marte aboard.
Looked proper there, and maybe the setup by Perez was a little more towards shortstop, anticipating the throw in a different area.
You know, we talked with Omar Vizquel about the defense of Odor, something that's a work in progress, and it's the feet that Omar is convinced is at the root of the problem. I know the Rangers are convinced he's going to make improvements as a defender. They think that that's already begun, but it's been a rough tournament for Rougned Odor. Venezuela is making a pitching change. Their 8th pitcher of the night on his way into a 3-0 game. And we'll be right back. Well, the Dominican Republic with a 3-0 lead here, and perhaps looking to add on still after the Cruz home run this inning. They've got 1 out and 1 on. 8 pitchers used by Omar Vizquel tonight, doing his best just to get through this. And considering they got a really good start out of Yuli Chacin, it's unusual to see so many bullpen arms tonight.
Listen, if you'd have told Omar Vizquel that 3 runs is all you're going to give up, he'd have liked his chances with his offense, but his offense just has been shut down by a team that we knew was loaded with their pitching.
Yeah, they're going to have to deal with Jeurys Familia, the outstanding Mets closer, who's getting ready for the 9th inning for the DR. But before we get to all that, Gregory Polanco will take swings against the newest Venezuela arm. Short outing by Arsenio Leon. He gives up the home run. And then he gets a ground ball and then has an error committed behind him. Jose Alvarez takes over on the mound.
Goes across his body, which creates deception. 2-seamer, slider, more like a cutter at 85 miles an hour.
Jose Alvarez takes a soft contact to the next level. Marte runs and Polanco puts it in play. Wow. Almost a high shovel toss by Odor that time. Runner at second with 2 gone now for Wellington Castillo.
I know the weather's always beautiful here. The field looks great for this time of year. Field looks good, grass, everything. Yeah. May have to replace the path from the dugout to the mound, you know, before this is over. But
yeah. Well, Omar wants to manage in the big leagues, and you know he is. The specialized era of baseball is certainly something he's familiar with. 0-1 the count to Wellington Castillo. We were talking about the soft contact that Jose Alvarez induces. The opponent's average exit velocity against him was just under 86 miles an hour, and in the StatCast era, that's the last 2 years, only Mark Melancon has a lower opponent's exit velocity over that time.
a lot of that is the way that the ball spins because he throws across his body, so it's cutting or sinking and creates that deception. That's why velocity can be overrated. You can have 97 straight as an arrow and hit hard. There's a gift in late life. There's a gift in what we call the invisiball, like Chris Young with the Kansas City Royals, a good example, 6'10" or 11, and he kind of throws under the hitting speed.
That's stealth fastball. 2-2 to Castillo. When Venezuela bats down by at least 3 against that guy Jerry's Familia in the top half of the 9th inning, they'll have Victor Martinez, Carlos Gonzalez, and Jose Altuve. That is as competent a part of their or anybody else's order in this tournament. They just haven't been able to string together much of anything tonight. Shutout through 8 on 6 hits, only 1 for extra bases. And that was a hustle double by Ender Inciarte in the 8th. 2-2 to Castillo. All the players in this thing have agreed that the games have a postseason feel to them, and that's true in the way they've been managed as well. Constant matchup pitching change is a testament to that. Full count now.
Good fastball here.
Jose Reyes waits on deck with 2 gone. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Wellington. Castillo with Marte at second, a run in and 2 away. 3-2. Bouncing ball to shortstop. Escobar's got it. And Venezuela has 3 outs left tonight to try to catch the DR. Join us tomorrow, the U.S. and Puerto Rico, 7 o'clock here in San Diego, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and then doubleheader action on Saturday, Puerto Rico and Venezuela. And the big ticket item, the U.S. and the Dominican Republic Saturday night in a game with very little ticket availability left here, we're told. Plenty more World Baseball Classic action to come from San Diego. And then it's off to Los Angeles for the semifinals and the finals Wednesday night. Jerry's Familia on to close it out. You'll get Victor Martinez to start things out. Martinez, Gonzalez, and Altuve. Venezuela is 3 tries away from falling to 0-2 here in San Diego, and that would really put them behind the 8 ball.
They'll be rooting for the U.S.
Yeah.
To go 3-0.
Their only game left, their only regularly scheduled game, will be the day game against Puerto Rico Saturday. Big fastball swung on and missed. 99 miles an hour from Jeurys Familia. The Mets still unclear as to the availability, the status of Familia when the regular season opens on April 3rd. Still waiting for possible league ruling on a domestic violence case. It's ball and 2 strikes to Victor Martinez.
Well, they're still in good hands. Their bullpen has been pretty good for the Mets, and if they can get any consistent health out of their starters, Mets are going to surprise some people this year.
Think so?
Well, their starters, of course, you know, Harvey and the boys got to get and be healthy throughout the year, but no doubt they'll make it tough on not only the Nationals but the National Leagues. And those boys prove they can follow up what they did a year and a half ago.
Just a 3 for 18 World Baseball Classic so far for one of the most accomplished hitters on the Venezuela roster. I mean, this DR bullpen is so good. 4 closers down there. Swing and a miss. 100 miles an hour from Familia.
Seriously, the only trouble you have off of Familia is if he's not locating and he gets the count in your favor, and you can start honing in on the sinker moves. His off speed, which he doesn't have to throw very often, is filthy. And obviously he's in tremendous shape. That's a pretty good body out there trying to come downhill with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
There's Carlos Gonzalez now with 1 away. You know, I thought coming into this thing that there was a chance. Tony Pena, blessed with so many great bullpen arms and so many closer candidates, I thought that maybe he'd mix it up. I probably was the only one that thought that maybe, you know, somebody gets a save opportunity one day. He'll use Colome one day. He was pretty clear from the outset that Familia was going to be the guy to save games in the ninth.
Pretty good numbers last year. 51 saves. 77 innings.
Oh and 1 to 0-2 on Carlos Gonzalez. Pitching matchup tomorrow night in the U.S.-Puerto Rico affair. Seth Lugo on the mound for Puerto Rico. And Marcus Stroman makes his second appearance for the Americans. He was brilliant in Miami last week. The 0-2 to Gonzalez. 12 strikeouts tonight for Dominican pitching. All 6 of the pitchers that have worked this evening have recorded at least 1 strikeout. Jose Altuve waiting next with 1 guy. Castillo wants this one on the corner. The 1-2 is swung out and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the ninth. And the Dominicans are 1 out away from evening up their record in San Diego.
All those strikeouts, not a lot of runs, but still a 4-hour game. Who we got back home taking us the rest of the way?
That would be Greg Amsinger with Dave Valley.
Oh, right. They have been patiently waiting.
Patiently waiting.
Tie a bow on this.
They are 6 iced lattes into their evening already. Jose Altuve started the day at third base. He'll finish there. And played a respectable hot corner tonight. 0 for 3 offensively. The ball and no strikes. Dominicans got 1 run in the 5th on the Gregory Polanco home run. Added another on the 2-out 2-strike RBI single by Robbie Cano in the 7th. And then the Nelson Cruz laser beam the other way gave them their 3-0 advantage. Cruz has hit 3 home runs so far in the tournament. Been a night for Venezuela in which they've used 8 pitchers. They played the last portion of the game without Miguel Cabrera, who was removed after a tight lower back slowed him down. And as we've discussed, on the verge of falling to 0-2 and really needing some help if they're going to have any chance at a tiebreaker game or moving on to Los Angeles for the semis. They've been here before, though. I mean, they thought they were eliminated in Mexico. Little flare out to center field. It'll drop in behind Robinson Cano.
You know, if there was anyone that I thought was going to have a tight back tonight, it was Tom Elliott. He either pulls the lawnmower or he's getting ready for swinging a golf club. He is. How many strikeouts you say?
12. Make it 13 actually. 13.
Tough play for Cano right there.
So now Yangervis Solarte, who singled on an 0-2 pitch back in the 7th. Altuve runs unchecked, and he'll be at second base with 2 gone. Can't say enough about the add-on run they got from Cruz at home run. 2-out flare by Altuve here, and Solarte's got a chance to tie the game without Cruz's insurance blast. Ball and no strikes to Yangervis Solarte.
Well, StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services is going to take you back to that Cruz home run. See the flip of the bat, and then he decided, well, maybe not. I got to get going. But that ball was hit at 107.9 miles per hour and 380 feet.
A few years ago, that ball doesn't get out of here. They brought that fence in pretty significantly in right. And now Bill Castro out to chat with Familia. The last order of business for the Dominican Republic. Their 11-game winning streak broken up when they lost to Puerto Rico on Tuesday. And they are perhaps moments away from getting back into the win column tonight. Familia's 2-0 is taken for a strike.
Yeah, and the only thing that would be a little concerning is that this offense is kind of stalled. Going all the way back to Colombia, they had only 3 runs in the game and then exploded for 7 in extra innings. Only 3 runs against Puerto Rico. Only 3 runs, but it's going to be good enough for a win maybe against Venezuela. Going to have to pick it up a little bit to continue to move to LA where they want to be.
The other way. And down in front of Polanco, and that's going to give the tying run an opportunity to come to the plate. Two flares that find a little real estate. This is just the second time all night that Venezuela has had multiple base runners aboard, and it comes before their very last chance of the ball game.
I'm a little surprised that Altuve did not score 2 outs. Traditionally, in a regular game, that wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? I mean, time run at the plate. But in tiebreaker situations, you know, he's got a huge lead, and this should have been an easy run right here. But taking it easy and not putting a run against the Dominican Republic team. We shall see.
Alcides Escobar and Jeurys Familia have squared off in big stakes events before. The 2015 World Series, Game 1, they faced each other in the bottom of the 9th. And then in Game 5, they faced one another in the top of the 10th. On each of those occasions, Familia was able to retire Escobar. Altuve at third. Solarte at first. 2 out top of the 9th and a 3-0 game. And now Venezuela's down to its final strike.
The only thing you don't want to do is miss up to Escobar. You see that bowling ball sinker disappear on the bottom part of the strike zone.
If it gets any farther, Robinson Chirinos should bet next. Tony Pena furiously trying to reposition Robinson Cano before the pitch. Man, he was about as animated as Tony's been, including when he got ejected 2 nights ago. Cano was shading the second base bag, and Pena wanted him a little bit more in the hole. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Looked like it was going to be a really clean inning and not a lot of pitches. He's now at 22. Granted, there'll be a day off tomorrow, but certainly expected that to be a lower number after striking out the first 2 guys.
I've heard you talk about that a lot in terms of, you know, you're dealing with guys that are still in the midst of spring training, and here is Familia in a very big spot. High leverage situation. He put 67 games to bed last year, 51 of those good for saves. The next 2-2. Full count now.
For the life of me, I don't understand why Solarte has still been at first base. Now obviously he's going to be moving on the pitch, but again, getting in the runner scoring position with a hit here, it's 3-2. Now it's 3-1 because he's at first base, but little things that could add up if you're trying to hang on.
Quickly, tongue depressor. Let's clean out the shoes.
Yeah, I was a little surprised they allowed them to stay out on the mound. And Omar Vizquel's going to ask that same question.
Does that count as a trip?
I think it was the bat boy.
It was definitely a bat boy, but I mean that's a way to kind of finesse the rule.
Yeah.
I guess that's.
Hand him a piece of paper. Hey, they said this.
Yeah, right. All right, a full count to Alcides Escobar. He is the tying run with 2 out in the 9th. The payoff pitch home. A swing and a miss, and that'll do it. After a road bump against Puerto Rico on Tuesday, the DR is back in business tonight. A 3-0 shutout of Venezuela. Late runs, a couple of home runs by the powerful lineup and the powerful DR bullpen, shutting down